All right, it looks like we are good.
It's time for me to sit up properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have a good posture, man. It's gonna be for millions of years in the internet, dude.
Yeah. We have to be a good role model for people.
In the future, right?
Yeah. All right, everybody, welcome to the stream. You can see his pretty face right here. We have finally have our first guest.
Hello, guys.
Yep.
Dude, it's always awkward. It's always awkward for me to just say hello, guys, to my webcam, man, and completely alone in the room.
Yeah, it's weird. I've been struggling with that too.
It's like as if you're talking to like a crowd in front of you or like a badge, and it's just to no one. I'm completely alone in my room now.
Yeah.
But it's good to be here, guys. Like I was telling you guys before the podcast, it's an honor to be the first guest.
Yeah, I've been wanting to have you forever.
Yeah, thank you for giving us the blessing.
Of course, dude. I bet like in a year, man, I won't get a chance to be in this podcast again because you guys are gonna be full of stars in this.
Oh my god.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
Maybe, dude. Maybe.
Yep. Anyways, so if you don't know, I can try to say her name how you taught me. So
okay,
this is here. I'll switch to myself. This is the secret technique for saying his name. You plug your nose. Joao.
Oh, dude, that's perfect. that's exactly how it is, man.
Okay, so it's Joao Silva.
You messed up that.
I messed up that time.
Silva.
You just have to develop. Just have to develop to the point that you don't need to press the nose, man. That's the skill, dude. That's the skill required that every Portuguese has.
Yep.
Grow a new valve organ inside your nose.
Yeah, man. That you got to develop that muscle.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm broadcasting your work right now.
All right.
I'll click on myself. So this is his work. Tell us about some of the projects that you've worked on. Star Citizen.
So I've worked on Star Citizen. I worked on Crytek, on Hunt and Robinson. I worked on a few projects. Definitely none as big as Star Citizen. Star Citizen has been really huge. Of course, I have another bunch of NDA projects that we've worked on, and including you and me together.
Yeah. I'm working on a project with you right now.
Yeah, that's a pretty big one. Mm-hmm. I reckon bigger than Star Citizen. Although Star Citizen is pretty big in terms of investment. I think it's around 200 million or something like that.
Wow.
It's insane, man. Like you can if you spend $20,000, you can buy all the spaceships together.
Yeah,
and then you become like the OG of Star Citizen. But yeah, man. And then I have this personal project that I did for Jama Jubarayev course, concept art for films. That was really fun, man.
Wow.
From quitting Star Citizen on freelance, I was like, man, I am gonna quit Star Citizen, and I just need to have at least a month or 2 months just doing my own personal work, because I just cannot jump into another paid work. I just didn't feel like doing it. I wanted to spend the time on doing some personal work, and this course came at the perfect time, man. Right about June, and I quit on 5th of June, and this course started on the 5th of June, so it's perfect.
Yeah, this stuff is awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Ed.
This is really cool. Love that piece.
It's really cinematic.
Yeah, that course I recommend it to everyone, because it really pushes for because it really shows you how to push for the cinematic look in pictures. So it's a lot about referencing photography, referencing screenshots. It's the Jama Jurabayev, the way he taught us. It's not much different from what we learned in FZD.
Yeah.
But but it taught us in a way that you just gotta reference everything before you start anything. You know? And we all know that, and it's always important to mention. And even myself, every time I have a new brief, I like my tendency is to just go straight into the execution.
Yeah.
Because man, we just don't have time. You gotta do it for yesterday. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. So it was cool to have time to develop characters and think about environments, reference photography, old photography. You used to do what Fang does a lot, which is going to old photography, black and white, where people are supernatural and from World War II, World War One. You used to get some really nice composition. Also because, and I thought about that, like in old pictures from World War II, the best photographers were there, like capturing those moments. So therefore, you're gonna have some of the best pictures of such an incredible time.
Yeah.
So great reference, great reference.
Yeah, this stuff is super cool. So this is all for Jama's course.
Yeah, those are all for JAMA courses, man.
Man, you did a lot of work for this.
Dude, we all did, man. We all pushed for numbers on that one.
Wow.
But to be honest, it's like you do one environment and you take like 5 scenes out of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of shitting a little bit. It's not like everything is like original design. But
yeah.
In the film industry at the moment, that's how they are doing a lot of things.
Yep.
So
this piece is cool.
Yeah, thanks to this is a personal project too. That has an interesting story that I'm not gonna be able to tell, but it's just gonna leave it to personal project.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Let's see. We can go to a couple of the questions. Bora, make sure you keep an eye on the Twitch because I'm out of that tab right now. So, we got who are you? Show your portfolio and what is your experience working. What'd you do before you got into concept art?
So, yeah, what I did before is very very common for most of the people coming to this industry. So I went to art school in university. I went for graphic design at the time, and then I really didn't. The first year of university, I wasn't really enjoying the design aspects of the course. Although now I regret it because I feel like it's extremely important to have the fundamentals of graphic design, and I do have it, but I believe I should have explored it way more at the time. But after the first year, I went to film school in the same university. I just changed courses inside, and I had a lot of fun, man. It was really, really cool, and I learned the fundamentals of composition and camera work and all that stuff. And after that, I was really bummed out because I wanted to get into concept art. I discovered concept art from actually a teacher of mine, and he told me like I was super into animation and Noman school. I knew I wanted to be working in movies in Hollywood and stuff like that, but I didn't know exactly what to do. And then a teacher came to me and he told me, and he asked me, so do you want to be standing in front of your computer all day, or you want to spend all day drawing? And I'm like, oh fuck, I want to draw all day. And then you have to go to FZD school, and I'm like, all right. And yeah, that's how I found out about FZD school. Was a teacher on my 3rd year of university, and at the time, and I tell this story a lot. Like at the time, he told me, FZD school is in Singapore. And I'm like, where? Singapore? And from my part, because at the time, I just didn't know very well about Singapore, and I just didn't know how crazy industrial and prolific city it is. Since my mind was so fixed on LA and America, I'm like, fuck, I gotta go to Hollywood, man. I'm gonna make it there. And then this teacher tells me, no, you should go to Singapore, and I'm like, what? But then I
What
started
language do
doing
they
a lot
speak
of
there?
Yeah, dude. At the time, I was like, "What the fuck? I'm gonna have to learning Chinese or something."
Yeah,
But-
they speak English there, by the way. If for anybody
Yeah,
who doesn't
dude.
know, they speak
Yeah.
English and
If
Fluent
Mandarin.
you're
English.
as ignorant as I was at the time, then yeah, man. But then I found out about Feng Zhu, dude, from that teacher, and like we were talking before the podcast, like
Yeah.
I binge watched Feng Zhu tutorials.
Yeah,
And fuck, man, that guy, it's my mentor since then, man. Literally since those YouTube videos, that is my mentor. Then in school, he became my mentor too, and
yeah,
Kingston Suway, and
yeah. All
and
the
they
other
still talk to
teachers.
him, and yeah, they're all awesome, dude. My experience there was amazing, and found great friends,
Mhm.
and I still find good friends, man. Like, look at you guys. So,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's awesome.
yeah, man.
So
'Cause
that's
I don't know if people know you
Yeah.
guys are also from FZD School, so
yeah. Born and I both went there.
yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of your. Actually, it just switched over to Robinson.
Yeah. Man,
Yeah.
Robinson was literally my first project in the industry, man.
Really?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
And this piece specifically was one of the first pieces I've done
Oh man, talking about
for a
pressure.
company. Dude, yeah, and but I was so inspired, man. I was insanely inspired, and at the time my process wasn't didn't include photo bashing. At the time I was 23 years old, so
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Wow.
3 years ago?
16. It says 2016 on here.
Okay. All right, so it was 3 years ago. Fuck.
Wow, dude,
Yeah, I thought it was-
23.
I actually thought it was longer. I thought it was longer. So,
Man,
yeah.
23. Get your first in-house AAA gig, huh?
Yeah.
That's a pretty
Yeah.
good. It's a pretty
was
big
It was-
thing.
Well, you can't say much, dude. You're 23 and you're doing it too, so you did it before me, actually.
I think I
Yeah,
got
dude.
lucky. Look at this.
Ah, dude, this stuff is awesome.
This one's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
This was later. This was later.
This was later, okay.
Yeah, because this was like a year later, you know. So
Okay.
the piece, I started looking into Maciek Shiara tutorials about photo bashing and environments. Tanzana, John Sweeney, all these dudes,
Yeah.
and learning how to get that harmony in bashing and painting.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was a struggle because I used to paint a lot. I used to only paint.
yeah.
And you
This
can
one
see
is my favorite.
Wow,
The
I really
yellow
like this
bridge,
one.
It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks a lot, dude. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
What 3D were you using for these? I don't see what
3ds Max, dude.
3ds Max. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Okay,
was all
and-
3ds Max and V-Ray.
Okay. So for people who don't really know about 3D packages and stuff, so 3ds Max is a 3D package you can build and you can render in it, and then you take that render and you put it in Photoshop and you basically apply photo textures and painting on top of that render that comes out of the 3D program. So I can go back to this one. So this is what the render would look like that you get out of the software. You build all this, light it, and then hit render, and then you take this into Photoshop and add photo textures on top of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And is your workflow a lot like that even to this day?
Yeah, dude, it's pretty much the same, dude. It's the sketching, ideation on Photoshop or Sketchbook. Then from there, like, really try to have a very clear idea of the concept that I want to communicate, the message I want to communicate. thinking about semantics, thinking about value, shape, all these fundamental things.
Yeah.
And only when you know exactly what you want to do, when you have 100% idea of what you want to do, then you can go into 3D. And we were also taught this way in FZD. First do that line work, that precise, and it's fucking boring, extremely boring to do these line works. But once you do it, man, from that to 3D is so fast, and you don't need to know a lot about 3D. You just need to know enough to do these basic shapes. And
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time it's literally just spheres and cubes and stuff.
Yeah, pretty basic, man. And if you want to take it a bit further, you just apply some textures, and you can have super basic shapes, but with the right textures, you make it alive.
Yeah. Oh, like this, for example.
Yeah. But at the time, I didn't use textures, though.
Okay.
It's really interesting. And even today, I look back and I think, man, without much crazy 3D work, I was actually achieving good quality, man. So, and nowadays, I see myself spending so much time on 3D, doing crazy texture work.
3D is kind of really obsessive software. If you
It is.
do you get this, Silva, where you just think, oh, well, I could either paint this or I could do this in 3D?
Oh yeah, like I could just.
Do you get this,
Silva,
Silva, where you?
I was opening here the YouTube video. Yeah, man, totally, dude. I'm like, man, I'm here in 3D, man. I can just finish everything in 3D.
Yeah, and then it becomes a time issue.
And then suddenly, like, oh my god, I gotta deliver in 5 minutes, and I'm still in 3D. No. So yeah, you learn to manage that stuff. I still can't manage it very well. So I feel like I manage it better when I have very tight deadlines. When I have like long deadlines, I just lose myself in 3D, and it's not good, man. If you're gonna lose yourself, I reckon it's better to lose yourself in the ideation part.
Dude, I just realized I have a YouTube video on playing music, and everybody in the stream can hear it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't realize. I saw Christina said, I like the background music. And I'm like, oh, crap, I left my music on.
I didn't hear that at all because I have turned off the stream and I'm only listening to Hangouts.
I hope we don't get copyright striked and I'll lose all our audio. Oh, well. I think it'll be fine. It's like this 24-hour ambient space mix.
Nice, man.
Should be fine, man. If it's on YouTube, then it should be fine, I guess.
Everybody's typing keep it on.
Yeah, YouTube goes into some crazy places if you leave it on, man.
Oh no, I made a note to myself earlier. Turn that off. I don't.
It's the organic. It's how organic is this podcast? Podcast. Man.
All right.
I have a question regarding workflow since we went into this. How do you keep yourself focused without being distracted, and how does it help you manage your time? What do you do personally?
Good
to
point,
keep yourself focused?
I'm not the best of time managers, to be honest. I lose myself a lot in details there for me, man. I spend way too long on pushing pixels here, pushing pixels there. I feel like most artists have that issue. Also procrastinating, and what I mean about procrastinating is not so much procrastinating like not doing the work, but procrastinating in the work.
Yeah,
like I was telling you, like spending way too long on training.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Because I get it. Yeah, I get it a lot, dude. Like I'm the worst. I'll be so pissed at myself, and I see some artists have some process of putting these 20-minute intervals. So that you achieve each time, and that's very, very prolific. And I tried doing it, but I just not there. I guess for me, just stay in front of the computer and punish myself until I finish the piece, man.
Yeah, I definitely like to expand on the what you said, because I think a lot of people don't actually realize that you can procrastinate while drawing. Like a bunch of the time, a bunch of the time you'll be in the middle of a drawing and you'll realize it's been 2-3 hours and nothing has changed. You want to work from big to small. Like if your big important things like your composition, your focal point, your storytelling isn't figured out first, you can spend a lot of people say you basically polishing a turd. Like you're spending a lot of time detailing something that's not working. And I would say actually good critiques a lot of the time, you actually want to try and get them early on before you commit, because you'll get a critique after you spend 10 hours on a drawing and you won't want to change anything. Like you don't even have a focal point, or your composition is bad. But I spent 10 hours detailing this, and you don't want to change it.
Yeah.
So, I know a lot of guys who do that, and when they critique it, that exactly happens. Like, hey, don't you want to change the background? It's not helping with the narrative, or it's not helping with what you're looking at in this. Mm-hmm. They just give me like, no, I spent 15 hours on this, man. I can't. Nobody's gonna care how many hours you spent on it. Yeah, it does happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. That's true. Once the piece is out there, no one like in 2 years, no one is gonna be looking at that piece like, fuck man, that guy really must have spent a lot of time on that piece. I wonder how much time he spent. Like, and actually the average Joe just looks at the piece and that's a nice picture.
So for me, though, experience-wise, the only way to get over it is to really have the client destroy it for you. Or your art director destroy it for you and say, start over. Yeah. And then you're in a position where you can't explain or defend yourself.
Well, some people try to.
You really realize that hours invested is not what it is,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at least in my experience. I'm sure.
Yeah, totally, dude. Totally. I think when it comes to art to clients, it's a different story because, if he tells you, you just gotta do it, man. He's paying you for a reason, so you just gotta do it, and you gotta be professional about it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he's paying you daily. If it's not paying you, if he's paying you per piece and he's like goes on and on asking you for feedback, then we have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's paying you daily, then you gotta do it, man. You gotta be professional.
Yeah.
Obviously, you give you show your point, and sorry, dude.
I was going to say, so what about this piece?
What you did emotionally. Okay.
So what about this line work right here? This is one of the first I've seen of like this. Did you do a lot of these in-house?
A few. I did a few of them, and a lot of them I didn't show, but I did a few of them. I'm not gonna say that every piece started like that, but definitely the most complicated pieces started like that. Even on Star Citizen, also, we did a lot. Like every time we were at the point of ideation.
Yeah.
Draw, man. We actually went a couple of times to a meeting room and just draw, and come up with ideas together. And that's how actually we came up with some cool ideas for the new level Orville in the game.
Okay.
So. Yeah, just brainstorming together, sketching. Because at the end of the day, it's the easiest way and faster way to communicate an idea, man.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we are here to communicate. We are here to find a way to show what goes in our minds and to translate that into something that people understand. And that's an image for me and for you guys too.
Yeah, definitely.
For me, it's really hard. For me, it's really hard to communicate through writing or actually even talking. I find myself the most efficient way to communicate, like the things that go in my mind, is an image or a painting. Yeah, we all have our avenues, right?
Yeah,
and that's what art is, right? That's what art is.
Mm-hmm. So drawing is important.
Yeah. Drawing is very important.
Drawing is very important. I think a lot of people starting off are looking at this kind of stuff, but they don't see the design thinking and the process put into it. Like this is this is super common, you know, like even if it's not a line work like this, every single drawing has like a sketch or has a ideation phase. It has there's time for thinking and figuring out, and that can actually take longer. A lot of the times it does take longer than actually the final piece itself.
Totally. And even this drawing has drawings behind it. This is the finished product of a lot of drawings.
Yeah.
Because before that, me and the team, we did tons of drawing sketches. It's not like, okay, I have this idea in mind and pow, and I do the drawing and it's perfect. Composition, shapes. Actually, the shape of that pod was originally given me by the art director.
Yeah.
The basic shape, and then I built on top of it. So that's the thing. Even that, man, a lot of times you gotta start in this industry, you gotta start with a basic shape that the art director or the client gives you, and you gotta work on it, man. That's what they want, and just gotta make it cool, man. And that's our job, is to make stuff cool and relatable to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, drawings have drawings behind it, and behind the drawing, there you go. And behind the drawing, there is behind everything, there is thoughts. You gotta, and that's something that I want to approach in this podcast too. Is like conscious learning, which is while you watch a movie, while you play a game, you're just thinking about this stuff and thinking about what makes something good. Why is it working for you? Why you like it? Is it the composition? Is it the lighting? Is it the cinematography? Is it the story? Is it the gameplay? What is it? So it's, or when you walk in a street, just always conscious learning, and that will help a lot, and it translates directly to your works, into your drawings.
Yeah,
because this is just, it's all thought process, man. It's all thought process, all this stuff. And sometimes I have the story that a friend of mine told me. I'm gonna tell it really quickly about this guy. He worked on an animation studio in Canada. He was like a super pro guy, man. He was already 50 years old, and they gave him a brief, an extremely hard brief, that he had to make like something super original for an animation. And this guy just seated in front of the computer, just seated, not drawing, not anything, just seated for like a full day, or actually 2 days or something. That's what this friend told me. And everyone would pass by him like, what this guy is not working? And then on the third day, he just executed it perfectly, because he spent the time thinking about things and didn't jump into execution right away. And I think that's a takeaway. It's a very important takeaway from this, that it's really important to just stop and think about things. That's why mind maps are very important, and little sketches and all this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and same with like reference and gathering your inspiration, gathering your references. And you can even have references for stuff like like composition, especially, you know, like you find a photo on like Flickr or Pinterest or just Google Images, and you're like, I really like the angle of this photo. It shows information in a very unique or interesting way. And you can set your shot up to be exactly like that. Like you can steal the composition. Like, oh, you got your foreground element right here. You have your subject matter over here. You have your things relating to each other. And you can just sit and, like, a lot of the time you can just think about that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, totally. I can show you guys later, or now if you guys want, some of the reference I use for that the thing project that I did for JAMA course.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to see it.
Man.
Yeah, it was black and white pictures, and let me just open it really quickly.
All right, I got you up on screen.
Yeah, speaking of sitting idle for 3 days and executing, like sometimes I catch myself thinking about the next painting when I'm just cooking, cleaning, walking, taking off the trash, going to the convenience store on the metro, just thinking about it for, and then kind of it also kind of helps to think about what you're going to do without looking at it.
Exactly.
So
Totally.
that's why sometimes like you hear about all these, I don't know, like these businessmen people doing lots of sports and all that. They're not really doing sports. I think half of those people are probably thinking about what they're going to do next while they're jogging.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, possibly, dude. Possibly. That also, when it comes to sports and jogging, I think it's a bit different because, in my opinion, because jogging, you do have a lot of time to think about to think about things. But for instance, like I do sports a lot, and when I do sports, I do it because I just want to turn off from. I just want to turn off from concept art, actually, which I think it's very important too. To just once in a while to really turn it off, man. So that, because at least I speak by myself, man. I get so caught up on this stuff and thinking about it, and I just cannot stop thinking about this brief, this concept, and how I'm gonna fix it, and I get really stressed out, man. And if I can just for like half an hour or 1 hour just not think about it, you can imagine like how relaxed your brain is gonna be more to be able to solve those problems. Because you cannot do art if your brain is not relaxed, man.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be. Yeah, it's just gonna be.
Yeah, I kind of got a little story about that. So, it actually has to do with Pete, like we were talking about earlier. But so one of the very first AAA I ever got hired on, he was on that with me, and he messages me one night because I was turning in a bunch of stuff, and he's like, "Man, your drawings look so stressed," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm so stressed out right now." And he's like, "Yeah, your stuff is really stiff." He's like, "Just take a breather, like walk around and like just like kind of just cool down about it and think about." Oh, I've seen that one before. That's awesome. That's such a cool piece. Scary too.
Yeah, like you do this, you get one of these references, and you just do that, man. You don't need to. Yeah, but sorry, go on with your story. Sorry.
Wow, it's such a cool picture. What a nice reference folder. Like beautiful stuff. Like for those who don't know, this is seeing inside. This reference folder is seeing inside the mind of a designer and what they're thinking about when they're doing design work. Like this is the meat of the design. Like a lot of this stuff is part of the most important. This is the most important phase.
Yeah, 100%, man. Also, not only referencing old pictures and real pictures, I firmly believe that you should reference artists, man, to set up the bar for you. You know, the execution bar. Like, what is the quality you want to have in your work? I guess like you should have reference for everything, man. Everything. Either execution, either mood, either design, either whatever, dude. It's just you gotta know exactly what you're gonna do, man. And at the beginning, when you learn this stuff for the young people there, when you start learning this stuff, it's like, oh man, but it takes the natural organic feeling of just go and draw a picture. It does a little bit. I did struggle with that when I was studying. This thing that, man, first I gotta go into reference and spend so many reference. By the time that I finish the reference, I don't have motivation to finish the work. But it's part of the process, man. And definitely with time you start finding joy in this stuff, and it becomes enjoyable, man. The reference part becomes of the work, and you get so many ideas from that, and you start seeing opportunities to make actually original stuff, you know. Because when you start, man, like the first years you're not going to be doing original stuff, man. And I speak by myself, like I still don't feel like I'm doing like crazy original stuff, but that's how it is, man. It's an evolutive process. I say it all the time, man. Go ahead.
References. sometimes the art directors or clients, they sometimes really control what references you can look at and what you can't look at. Sometimes they would say, no, not this style at all. You can't even look at this. Don't even get anything from this, but look at this, right?
Yeah, well, they have reference boards.
If you have if you're doing your personal stuff, you can do whatever you like. It's up to you. But sometimes at work, you kind of run into this controlled.
Yeah, but dude, even when you I find myself when I work for myself, even myself subconsciously and actually consciously, I'll have reference that I don't want to look.
Yeah.
Right. We always do. Okay, we're working in sci-fi, and man, I want to do this sci-fi. It was steampunk. I want to do steampunk, but I don't really want to look into all those steampunk pictures that we find on Pinterest. I want to focus more on Victorian architecture.
Yeah.
And I consciously avoid it. But I totally don't. In Star Citizen, man, for sci-fi, oh my god, so many references were don't do it like that, man. There are hundreds of pictures of saying not to do it like that.
Yeah. Well, they have reference boards of what to do, and they'll also have reference boards of what not to do.
Yeah.
You know, they'll have actual pictures, and they have a big sometimes they'll have an X on it, and they'll be like, "Don't do this."
Yeah. Even more when it comes to design language, right? A lot. Oh, don't do the corners like that, man. Don't do the bevels like that. In sci-fi, they are
very picky.
Very picky when it comes to, but that's really important, even more for new artists coming to the project, for them to quickly understand where they are at.
Yeah. So I do want to say something about that for people who want to build a sci-fi portfolio. You know, adding neon lights to something isn't necessarily going to get you hired on a sci-fi project. Sci-fi design, if you look on ArtStation, or if you look at a bunch of concept art that like Fang's work and all that, a lot of it you may glance at it and look at it and be like, oh, I can do that, or I want mine to look something like that. But the best way is to give yourself some constraints. I would say give yourself some constraints, make a reference board of something very specific, like jet engines, and then everything in your project maybe is based on doing a jet engine shape language, or you find a reference board of some very specific tech with a very specific shape language, and then you stick to that consistently and show in your portfolio that you've stuck to that consistently and you can handle it, and you can create a wide variety of content and designs based on something very specific. And that's going to be a lot of help for your portfolio and getting hired.
Totally. Yeah, Fang says it a lot, and I totally agree, man. You don't need to redesign completely a new world. Just get something that is cool and just make it a 5% to each. What I think, though, when it comes to sci-fi, for instance, when I came out of school, I was so afraid of doing it, man.
Yeah.
I was so afraid of doing it because in school people always told the teachers, man, sci-fi is really hard, man. You're gonna do it wrong, and you're gonna do bad designs and whatever. But what I realized that there is a big stigma in this industry, and it's hard to understand too. People always tell you do not look at other artists' work.
Yeah.
And it's like that for sure. Don't copy other artists, right? Don't when you're working for a client or when you're doing personal projects, definitely don't copy other artists, because a senior will look at it and will totally understand it. He'll totally see and break it apart. Okay, this guy is copying Maciek Sciarra, Vitaly Bulgarov, on and on and on.
Yeah.
The thing is that it's important, though, to study those artists. It's important to study good artists, man. Either classical artists, either new artists. We had great stuff being doing now, and that has been done in the past, man. And you gotta study those guys. Otherwise, if you never done sci-fi, it's just if you don't have any reference of sci-fi and you never studied it, looking only at real stuff, it's not gonna be enough, in my opinion. You gotta have the notion of what people are doing in the industry, and from that, and it happens a lot of in comedy, man. Also, like, you gotta study a lot of comedians, for instance, in the comedy world, and concept art, it extrapolates really well. You gotta study a lot artists, and you study until one day you discover, like, actually I have my own voice, and you start gaining confidence to do stuff on your own way. But it comes from a lot of experience, and some people been doing that since they were kids, man.
Yeah.
They've been drawing mechs since they were kids, like guys like Vitaly Bulgarov, and their reference library comes from those times of watching Transformers and watching all these contents. And obviously, when they get to our age, 20s, they don't need to reference other artists because they've been doing it all their lives.
Yeah.
So, but when it comes to a new subject matter, you're gonna have to study the real world reference, and you're gonna have to study the entertainment reference, because we are working in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
But we always want.
I want to ask you a question that's on that topic. So, what inspires you most as an artist, and what influences your designs the most?
What influenced me the most, and this has been something that I've been thinking a lot. It's definitely like feeling the original thing, the original factor that leads me to do stuff. It's been always feeling. I try to capture either when I was young, or what I felt at some point, or what I felt watching a movie, or what I felt being with my girlfriend the first time, or something danger. And I feel like feeling, it's the first thing that comes to my mind, and obviously movies. But I get a lot of feeling from watching movies. Mainly composition, cinematography, light, and I see the movies and I relate to that so much at a very essential level, at a very fundamental level, and I'd say that's the thing that leads me the most in my art.
Okay, so you're trying to capture a feeling that you basically the point of an artwork for you is to capture a feeling.
Yeah, I think so. That's why I get hired a lot to do modes and concept work like that, environments, because I focus a lot on that. But definitely, for example, like guys like you, Colton, focus mostly on the design.
Yeah.
And I feel like at the end of the day, I think we all looking for that feeling, though.
Yeah.
That like that either when it comes to design, props, like that thing that you played when you were a kid, and this, or something that you touched, or you saw in a museum, or you saw in a movie or in a game, and it's just like the feeling of it. Am I wrong? I don't know. With the guys that focus more on design, I still don't understand very well.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it was actually Pete rubbing off on me, because he's just like, all I want to do is sci-fi props, and I'm just like, I guess I'll do sci-fi props, because he mentored me so much, but I'm actually really trying to go back in and start to get that feeling. Like, I used to do so much colorful work and kind of like try to capture this Miyazaki look in a bunch of my pieces and mood, and then I ended up getting hired for like props and hard surface, and which I love.
Because that's what you add in your portfolio.
Yeah, exactly. And I love doing that stuff. But right now I'm actually trying to capture both. Like, I want to be able to design props and stuff that is like just hardcore designed out, really thought through, with all the mechanics and mechanisms. But then I want to be able to take that and put it in a scene. Like a lot of the pieces that you have, I can tell you put a lot of thought into each of the individual things in your scenes, and then you put those in as a feeling. Like you made a scene that gives you a specific feeling with those elements that you have pre-designed in there. And that's what I'm trying to do right now.
I think also there are phases in life, like we were talking before. There are phases that you're gonna be focusing more on props, that you're
Yeah.
gonna be focusing more on characters, more on environments, and that's where all the years of experience come, right? Like then sometimes you see these guys with 20 years of experience, like fuck, they can do everything, man.
Yeah, but they did everything for
can do
5
everything.
years, you know? Like they have more experience
Yeah.
doing what you're doing than you do, but now they're on a different phase, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's why they can
Exactly.
create all these super complex pieces that are just amazing. You're just like, how do they do it? I want to do that. Well, that's because they did characters for 10 years or
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
masters.
And on top of that, like the real masters, some of these dudes they've been doing, like we were saying before, like since they were kids, man. Like, so they did characters from 0 years old to 18, and then from 18 to 30, they did environments and one and
Yeah.
one and pro. And of course, when you reach to 40, you're an absolute beast.
Yeah.
And that's how it is, man. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I say it all
Yeah.
the time, man.
Speaking of
And,
marathon and childhood, did you always have an interest in art and design?
I always had. I
Okay.
always had. I always had, and also I think it has to do a lot to the fact that when I was a kid, people always told me, "Oh, you draw really well." I'm like, "What? I guess people like me more if I draw than." No, but I think it all comes to that childhood first steps. Like I sometimes I think, although I got a lot of pleasure from drawing, and until today it's the most relaxing moments for me is drawing. It's I get zero stress just drawing. Was a kid, I believe that if people told me, "Oh, you don't know how to draw," like even if I was doing good drawings, imagine if my parents were great artists and very grumpy, and they'd see my drawing like, that's not good.
Yeah.
I'm not like very young. You imagine I'm talking about like 3 years old, 4 years old. I don't know if I continue doing it, even
Yeah.
though deep inside I enjoyed it a lot. But
Imagine
but
if
yeah,
you had Pete
but-
as a big brother. You never would have gotten into
Yeah.
art.
So Silva, another question for you. What made you want to become concept artist? How did you find out about it? And when did you decide? Was it gradual or was it an instant?
I would say it was concept art per se. The industry concept art was actually an instinct. Well, like when I told the story of my teacher that he just want to be in front of the computer all day doing VFX or draw all day. You're like, I want to draw all day.
Yeah.
So,
What year was it?
That was my last year of university. It was
2010. 12.
yeah 2013, just 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about, like, I think you were telling us before stream, but like of kind of the timeline of when you went to school, just so people can get an idea of like how old you are and everything. Did we already go over that, or
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I think we went before the podcast.
Okay.
I'm sure we did it.
Okay. I think that a bunch of
we
beginners
have like
are
a
very
2-hour
interested
talk
in age.
session we didn't record. We're sorry.
Yeah. With our talk before this talk, everything is mashing in it. I don't even know where we are at. But yeah. What was the question? Sorry, come again.
How old were you when you were in like college and then you attended FZD and then you started working and stuff?
Okay. So yeah, I never failed a year in my life, so it was pretty straightforward. Like at 18, I went to university, and then 18, 19, 20. I think around 2021. I think it's 21. 20. I think around 20, I went to FZD on that summer. 2013, I went to FZD. I think I was 20 or 21. No, I think I was 20. Yeah, I was 21. Oh my god, sorry. Guys. Yeah, I think it was 21, and FCD was 21, and then I finished it. I was 22, and then 6 months later, exactly, I got my job at Crytek, my first job at Crytek, and yeah, and then I stayed 2 years at Crytek, and then another year at Star Citizen. and meanwhile just freelancing until today since school ended. But yeah, it was pretty straightforward, man. I never wanted to waste much time.
Mm-hmm.
I just always wanted to crank. Go ahead, Brun.
There's one more question from the audience. It says, is there any suggestion for students like us who are learning on our own to sit for a huge amount of time and make it a habit? Because actually I'm having a hard time doing side job to support me as well as building a portfolio. So it's just the negative things that hurt me, and I'm procrastinating and all. So I guess this audience member is trying to build portfolio while he's working, and also trying to be self-taught at the same time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And do you have anything to say about advice and stuff?
Yeah, totally, dude. Like I said before, there are times in life which you're gonna go really hardcore, and other times in life in which you're gonna chill more. I think there are phases for everything, and that balance is really important. So I think at your stage, I think you're really at the stage of like, okay, I'm gonna put this goal in mind. My goal is to make a portfolio, and you're gonna have to be very disciplined, man. You're gonna have to sleep a bit less, work more, and that's it. It's gonna be a year, and it's gonna be a year that I'm not gonna be able to hang out much with friends.
Yeah.
Not much with my girlfriend. It's gonna be just for that, and it will pay off, man. Most of the times pay off if you work hard and you work smart. If you work with a goal in mind, like checking like an artist that you really admire, like I want to get to that level. How can I get? Okay, so go to his tutorials, do like him. Don't just draw without reference or without the goal in your mind. You really have to follow. You need to find mentors, and you need to follow the mentors at the beginning when you're starting. So like finding tutorials of great artists and really working hard, man. It's that little sacrifice that you gotta do at the beginning, and it'll pay back. And it's hard, man. I know a lot of people that were working and developing portfolio, but you just have to define your priority and go for it, man.
Yeah.
Another question: is there a difference in doing concept art in-house compared to freelance? And what is the difference? Which one do you like more?
I think both have positive and negative, like everything. For instance, like in studio, it's really cool because I get to hang out with my friends, and it's really awesome. It's like school environment, depending on the studio you're at. Really chill. The artists are usually really cool. Also in studio, you get to understand the pipeline better of a project. You get to know animators. You get to know programmers. You're not only making friends, you're also understanding the process of how a big budget project or a project works, and that gives you a sensitivity to later on deliver better artwork, because you're gonna have in mind like, oh, this is gonna be a trouble for the programmers. If I do this concept, this little detail, programmers are gonna have to develop a new technology or the engine.
Yeah.
And that's very important mindset to have. Also, on the other hand, you are restricted to their time and to their hours, so you gotta get up at the hours that they want. You gotta tell them when you want to make holidays, and that's the positive sides of freelance, which is you're your own boss, man, and you make as much money as you want.
Yeah.
So
I do have something to say about that, because I've never actually worked in-house before, and I've talked to a bunch of people who do work in-house, and they have even for a couple of years, and they talk about, getting to know, like you said, the programmers and the animators, and you find out what you need, what you draw, and if they're able to build it, and if there's problems. You do learn that in freelance. You just learn it much slower, and it's like you'll learn little snippets, because your art director will get back to you. Like on the project we're working on, the art director gets back to me, and he gets back to me and he says, "Oh, this right here will be very difficult for the 3D team to build, or this will be very difficult for them to animate." And I'm like, oh, okay, now I add that snippet to the knowledge base, and it may be, or you may get a whole sheet of feedback and you read everything on it and you're like, oh, so you want to be able to copy paste these parts around so they don't have to build a new thing for every part they use it on. And over the years of freelancing, those snippets have just been building and building and building. And I think you learn them a lot faster when you're working in-house. Like, you learn a whole set.
For sure, in freelance, you learn those stuff. Yeah, I reckon that if you're starting and you're not sure if you have a portfolio already, this is for the guys that have a portfolio already. If you have the opportunity to go into a studio, but this is my experience. I'm sure a lot of people would say completely different, but in my experience, go into a studio, okay, and learn, man. Learn as much as possible, because maybe one day you want to do your own studio. Who knows? And you know exactly how it works, and you know exactly the issues of having a studio, and the constraints and all that stuff. And after you've been to a studio, then go to freelance. I think you learn faster if you have people around you with the same mentality, and a studio is a really great environment for that. You have a lot of badass dudes, man, seniors with 20 years of experience, and when you do freelance at the beginning, you don't get that input as much, so you're kind of missing out a little bit. But on the other hand, with the social network these days, you find so many badass people, man, that you can just talk and they will help you out, man. Our industry is pretty cool in that regard.
Another question: why did you choose to use 3D in your work, and how was it to use it for the first time?
Yeah, the thing is that it's mostly because it's an industry standard at the moment. At the moment in the industry, you kind of have to know 3D to do the mainstream work, and that's the thing, man. Like, if also 3D is pretty cool because it gives you a lot of control, and I love the fact that I can just change the light and change the camera, and that's really nice. I love that. But I started mostly because it's industry standards. Yeah.
Hold on one second. There's this dove outside that likes to chill.
Dude, I was worried about that sound. Like, is somebody wheezing or what's going on?
No, it's a stupid dove that decides to sit outside right next to my window. I gotta go scare it away. Hold on. It always comes back, though.
Yeah, I was listening to this. Like, it seemed like an alien sound. I was like, what the hell? And I started getting really confused what I'm saying. Like, what the hell?
Silva, I got another question on YouTube.
Go ahead.
Being a concept artist from India, I'm finding it pretty challenging to get to a studio abroad. Is there any particular advice that could help me redirect my efforts?
Yeah, man, it's very tricky when it comes to people in Asia, like either China, either India, or Russia. Like, visas are tough, man, these days, man. Even more when it comes to go to America. Okay, when it comes to people in those places, you're just gonna have to make an extra. You're gonna be extra good, man. You're gonna have to work extra hard, and it's just the reality of things. You're gonna have to be better than the people that are in LA. You're gonna have to be better than the people that are in Europe. They're really, really, really hard, and it's possible, man. It's just a matter of how much you want it.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Like, I feel,
like Marco,
I feel
for
myself,
example.
Exactly. There you go.
Marco.
Yeah. Mark is the good.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Marco is what's that?
Was he from South Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah, South Africa.
Yeah. So there's a guy who was in his term in FZD, and he was a really young guy. He went into FZD at like 19, and he was from South Africa. Very hard for him to get a visa in other countries, and he ended up getting hired in-house after a bit of freelance there. He ended up getting hired in-house at Adam Hawk in the UK, and now he's a senior concept artist there, and he's going to be coming up later actually as a guest on this channel, so we can ask him about that. But
yeah, he's definitely a better person to ask that question. Although I do feel like I know a little bit about it because in Portugal there is just no industry.
Yeah.
Although I'm in Europe, but there's just no industry in Portugal. Very little people doing this stuff, man. It's like a handful of people doing this,
Yeah.
working this industry. So you just have to work extra hard, man. And that's the reality of things. People in LA, they have so many connections. They are born with the studio right next to them, and probably they have a cousin working there, and of course it's gonna be easier for them.
Yeah.
But that's how it is, man. Just gotta accept how things are and work extra hard, man.
Same with Australia. There's not a lot of industry there. There's a little bit, but not a whole lot. So I know a number of concept artists from Australia who are looking for work, and they do have to work extra hard. Like it's not always fair. I mean, you know, you can be born in a country that just has absolutely no industry, and you got to work twice as hard sometimes. Like, but you can get in. You can.
But it's fun, man, because by working extra hard, by having those struggles, that will make you a better artist, a better person too, man.
Yep.
And suddenly you fast forward like 40 years and you kept working, man, kept hustling, and suddenly, man, you're making something different. And that's the thing, like struggles will make you who you are. And yeah, man, gotta out of the comfort
So another question, speaking of struggle,
Yeah.
have you ever had a burnout, and what did you do to get through it, if so?
I gotta say, like, due to my personality, which I like to go hardcore, I had a lot of burnouts, man. A lot of burnouts. Like, I feel like most artists have them, but I think like some guys can have a more mild personality, so they are more chill, they are more balanced. I'm really hardcore. Like, I can go like a year like FZD, like non-sleeping hardcore, just do it. But then you're gonna have to deal with the consequences, man. And sometimes the consequences that, like, man, for a month you're gonna be really burned out. But I feel like more and more, I think like these things they happen, but then they go away. It's not like you have a burnout that will happen forever. At least it haven't happened to me yet, you know.
Yeah.
But I feel like being healthy, eating well, doing sports helps me a lot to balance that out, and also hang out with friends, family.
Completely turn off. That's what you said a few moments back.
Yeah, I think it helps. It helps. At least it helps to me. We are all different, man. But I definitely had a lot of burnouts, man. And also, I think watching what really inspires you, know, when you're at that stage, just go and watch that movie that you liked a lot when you were a kid, like your favorite movie, or, you know, I think that helps to bring a little bit the joy. But the turning off, I think, helps a lot.
Yeah, I think on that note, like, there's like you'll get advice. Yeah, you'll get advice from an artist, and they'll be like, sometimes you just have to spend 24/7 practicing concept art for like a year, and then you'll also get advice that's like, you need to have a life outside of art, or else you'll burn out.
Totally.
It's really a balance. Sometimes you do have to have that grind year. You know, so many people burn out in and after FZD, and that's just one of the risks you have to take if you decide to go to a school, or if you decide to work super hardcore in a mentorship or something. Burnout is a real risk.
I know a few that came out of FZD. Just
so
this is not for me, man, and I don't want to do this anymore.
And that's okay.
I totally understand, man. Totally. And maybe and interesting enough, man, I left FZD 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Guys that I saw running out at the time, they are coming back again, man, and so with so interesting stuff. And also, like, if you burn out for a year or 2, it doesn't mean that it's the end, man.
Yeah. I burned out for a good long time once. It sucked.
Dude, even I had like thought when I was, honestly, if I speak this, like when I was in the second term of FZD, I actually had thoughts in my head like, I'm not gonna draw again after this. I'm just gonna go home and be
forever.
a cop, or I don't know, be a taxi driver. Like I honestly had those thoughts. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. But dude, I totally get it, man. I have good friends of mine that are already 40 years old in this industry, and man, they are lost, dude. They are as lost as you guys that are starting now, man. So, and I have others that know exactly what they want, and that's a thing in life, man. Like, if someone seems like they figured it out, it's most of the times they haven't, and that's the thing, man. Someone that you may look and you see like, oh man, that guy knows exactly what he's doing, man. Most of people, we are just trying to figure out things, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I think being goal orientated helps a lot, but even goals change a lot with time. I mean, like, you can have a goal for 10 years, but like, can you have the same goal for 40 years?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like the long game, man. Beast. So although I do feel like having goals is one of the most important things in this industry. Otherwise, you just lose the track of things.
Yeah. How long did it take you from the moment that you decided you wanted to be a concept artist to the point where you got hired, like the first time, where you got your first job, where you're like, I made it, like, or I finally got my first job, not like a little commission or something, or like a graphic design job, but I mean like concept job.
So the time frame from the first moment I wanted to be a concept artist to get a job in the first job, right?
Yeah.
Dude, it'd be from that moment where that teacher told me about concept art in the third year of university to after FZD, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I went to Crytek. I guess it would be 2 years. But yeah, there are guys that take. So that's the thing, man. That's another thing. Like, getting the job fast. Getting the job fast doesn't mean that you're better than someone that got the job for a long time. Like, you can take 10 years to reach that job, but when you get to those 10 years, you're like way better than me and way more experienced than me.
Mm-hmm.
I got it in 2 years and then stagnated, and time doesn't mean anything, man. As long as
Yeah, it really depends. Like, it took me 5 years from when I was like, I want to be a concept artist, to getting my like first like job that I'm like, wow, I made it. Like, I'm a concept artist now. It took me 5 years of hard work. Yeah. So, and other people it could take 8 years. Other people it could take 1 year. Like, it just depends.
Yeah. Also, that's another thing. Like, it took you 5 years, but you're like probably like 16 when you decided to do it. 15.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. An age thing will have an impact. Like a guy that starts at actually 30 years old actually might get it like really fast to art director position.
Yeah.
Because he has maturity, he has experience. Instead of you imagine the goal is to become art director. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
And you're 18, dude. I can guarantee you, most probably the most common thing is gonna take you a few 10 years.
Yeah, it's probably take you 10 years.
And that's the thing. If you're 28, 29, 30, you're probably gonna get it like in 2 years, 3 years. Yeah. So
it's not all about technical skill. It's about like you said, maturity, the understanding of the world, the knowledge, the experience. Yeah, sometimes I don't know. Like, I heard that sometimes some artworks don't even know how to draw, basically.
Yeah.
But they can totally see, oh yeah, that's wrong, this is right, the light should be like that. I don't know, I can't do it on Photoshop for you, but
totally. I think I have a few art directors, and some art directors, they come from environment background, like from environment 3D. Other comes from graphic design background, and all of them, they bring something very special. They are art directors for some reason, mainly on these big projects, like these AAA projects. They are art directors for some reason. Even as sometimes you question yourself, like, how this guy got the job, and then suddenly, a few months later, like, whoa, this guy is so creative, so original. It makes all sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's a journey, man. It's a journey.
Yeah. I got another question. What do you think the most important elements are for someone to have who wants to become a professional concept artist who's like just starting out or who's still learning and practicing?
Come again? Sorry, I missed that question.
What are the most important elements for someone to have who wants to become a concept artist, whether it's like fundamentals or creativity or a good work ethic, or like, what do you think are the most important elements?
Yeah. I think, okay.
Discipline?
Yeah, discipline a lot, but I'm just thinking like we are at the stage here, and a lot of people that watch this podcast, like they think concept art is the all and be all.
Mm-hmm.
But like at the end of the day, you're choosing this because you want to live a life of art, quote unquote, right? Like you're gonna have many jobs throughout your life. But in the art industry per se, either movies, games, thing, it's the ability. I think it's the ability. It's really hard, man, because a lot of people are very different. But I still think like the ability to draw is very important, because again, it's like the fastest way to communicate an idea. And you see some movie directors like Ridley Scott. He sold the movie Alien just by doing the sketches of each frame. If you're able to draw, it will translate, and you're able to draw well, it will translate to graphic design. It will translate to concept art. It will translate to art direction. It will translate to cinematography, storyboarding, to pretty much anything, man. Yeah, of course, discipline. Discipline is very important. But if I would say like the fundamental element that's very important, it's the ability to draw. Also, because when you draw, you're being creative, and you're being free to look for ideas and express yourself. I think it allows you that.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I answered well the question, but it's very tricky question too.
Yeah, it is a tricky question.
For me, relating, I wanted to be an animator before, and I studied animation for like 7 years. Then I switched to concept art due to various circumstances. However, one of the important quality that concept artists should have is the ability to learn things in chunks without trying to gobble up something like too big one at it. You know what I mean? Like, don't be like a whale, you know?
Yeah.
Be like a little piranhas. Like, oh, this little knowledge. For example, when I was doing animation, I'm not only learning how to make things move in time, right? I'm learning about weight, physics, material, anatomy, flow, speed, and how humans perceive time with these frame numbers, etc. Right? Mm-hmm. And also on that, I'm building a scene, so background, color theory, mood. You know, it's all these little things. It's not just one animation, right?
100%. Totally. Yeah. And some animations, they are cool because the animation. Other animations, they don't even have a cool animation, right? But they are amazing because they have a beautiful mood and beautiful shapes. We've all seen those, right?
Yeah.
It's not like the best animation is always the animation with the best animation per se of the characters.
Also,
it's just
also adding to that, you must have the quality to recognize things within the noise. Like, for example, good art director does this. You show like your drawing, and they will say, "Well, it's stupid because the story is done." Okay, fine. What else do you see? What about the light? What about the composition? What about what about the character poses? What about the facial expression? What do you see? Are they good? Okay, those are good. So only this part sucks. Okay, fine. I'll focus here, you know?
Totally.
Most guys will just go with, oh, this one sucks. Bye-bye. I'm like, okay, then you're asking the wrong guy. Yeah. So you need to ask someone who really knows, you know? We could just say, yeah.
Definitely, man. Definitely. There's different people will have different journeys, man. Like I know a few guys that they don't even draw and they are concept artists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like guys like Vitaly Bulgarov and these dudes, they're not great drawers, but they are amazing. but the thing is that they are so good at, for instance, Vitaly is so good at, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe he draws really well, I'm not sure. I think I heard him saying that he doesn't draw much, but the thing with these guys, they are so comfortable with the medium, the tool they have 3D, which is as easy for them 3D as it is drawing for me. So that's the thing, man. It's you've easiest and best way to communicate your work, man. And yeah, but yeah, there's so many things we could tackle. We could tackle creativity. We could tackle reference. We could tackle experiences in life, personality. It's a lot of things, man. It's not like, yeah, it's not a very straightforward thing. And at the end of the day, I believe we all should pursue our own thing, man. And even if the mainstream, even we in the podcast, we're telling you one thing, and if you believe in your way of doing things, go for it, man. And maybe you'll be creating a new industry in the future. Who knows, man? It's if you stick to your guns, yeah, maybe things will
also
happen.
one of the thing I noticed was that when someone comes into concept art industry from, let's say, a different branch of industry or thought, like when I look at like photo bashing, for example, I just think like, man, if it was just a guy who just keep painting his whole life, he would never think about this stuff. Photo bash came from guys who worked on like photo editing, you know, like, hey, remove the pimples and stuff. When those guys started coming into try to do concept art, then the only way to do drawing was they could just photo bash and photo edit. And that's how these guys started like cutting off photo references and textures, and because they can paint, right? And then people who actually paint sees that and go, "Oh my god!" So having people from different worlds is really what pushes our industry forward. If you ask me.
Oh yeah, definitely 3D comes from 3D artists and their ability to show work in 3 dimensions, but also totally, like different industries, they will have different inputs in other industries. Also, like I feel like the discipline of concept art is also opening the eyes to other disciplines like environment artists. They are start looking things in a more holistic approach. Like in concept art, we have a very holistic approach, right? We have to have. And when it comes to environment 3D, like I'm talking about environment artists in a company, not a concept environment art. And environment art, the guys that build the environment in the engine. I'm starting to see them more having this designer approach, which is really cool, man. Which is really cool, and hopefully some of those guys can start being concept arts and environment arts at the same time, which will make the projects much better, man. This creator and designer mentality is very, very important, and you start seeing it in a lot of places. Also, when it comes to photo washing, though, it's also a constraint of time. You know, like in Hollywood, because they had to do like stuff really, really, really fast, and they got that input from those guys that edit photos, and like, okay, this is a good tool to deliver things really, really, really fast. There's mainly from matte painters, because matte painters, those are the ones that were doing it a lot. But yeah, man, constraints, limitations, the struggle, they will make you who you are and who the industry is.
Yeah. Another question. Did you have any misconceptions when you were learning that you now realize were wrong, like having to do with art and what you thought it was, or what you thought concept art was as a student, that you now are just like, that actually didn't matter at all, it's something totally different?
Yeah, I think we all have those things, right? And not exactly one thing, but I definitely had some artists that in the past, like while I was school, I would see them like, oh, this guy is amazing, and I valued that style of work, and then later I didn't value as much. I'm like, oh, this is okay, but it's just because it's stuff like art evolves as well, and what is cool like 10 years ago doesn't mean it's gonna be cool now. So I'm not sure, man. Like I'm not sure I looked at anything in particular that nowadays I say like, that's not important. I guess I did like way more characters than I do like characters now, but at the time I only wanted to do characters. But then I learned perspective and draw environments.
Yeah, you cut out a little bit. You
And
said,
actually,
what did you say? You said you liked characters, but then you learned perspective, and now you can draw environments?
yeah, that's the thing. Can you listen to me?
Yeah. Sorry, it was the connection. It cut out right when you said something.
Yeah, no, I was saying that like I used to like think I only wanted to do characters, and then I learned how to do perspective, and actually I actually like to do environments, and I learned how to do 3D. I actually can do animations or whatever, and then you learn to like these things because sometimes because you suck at one thing, you don't like it, and then when you start not sucking, you start liking.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what else. Maybe we can look at a little bit of your old work in a little bit if you want to pull some of that stuff up soon.
Yeah, so probably I couldn't find my portfolio entry for FZD. I can show you some of like my first projects in FZD.
Okay.
Let me show now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to my man. Actually, I don't know how come I have this stuff in my portfolio still, but get out. But it's like literally the last things in my portfolio. You gotta go all the way down. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so you gotta go all the way.
So much work.
Yeah. Oh man, actually, I deleted a few stuff. Thanks. But then again, man, some of this work is really old. But I deleted some stuff though. But yeah, these are some of the works. This I was doing in FZD.
Yeah.
Last term. But that's the thing. The worst people can tell me is like, "Oh, your FZD work is better than what you're doing now." Like, no, some people sometimes tell me, "Oh, man, this piece is awesome. Is your favorite? Is my favorite piece of yours?" And I see this, and I'm like, "What the hell?"
Yeah. Have you ever thought about remaking any of these to make them like properly?
Yeah, I did think about it, but I do understand when people tell me that because I remember I had no standards of I didn't have much standard of what I should be doing in the industry, so I was just doing stuff for fun, man. I was having so much fun doing these pieces, dude.
Yeah.
And I feel like today I'm kind of not doing that as much because of limitations of software and all that stuff.
Yeah, I love that Zorro design, by the way. That character looks just awesome.
They should make a movie.
Oh, thanks. Thanks
but
a lot,
not in
dude.
English.
Yeah, in Spanish.
That guy. Wow.
Yeah, in Spanish. Yeah.
Such a fun design.
Yeah, thanks a lot, dude. Yeah, man. So yeah, I was having a lot of fun. So that's the thing, man. Also, like people, the same way people were saying that. That Pete could notice that you're nervous doing your sketches. People can tell when you're having fun working. A lot, man. I can totally see when artists had fun doing something. So, but then again, man, you gotta work for clients, and a lot of times it's not super fun, man. You gotta do the briefs.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Putting out the photo wash and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my older works then.
Okay.
And then I have those and stuff. Yeah, sorry guys, I don't have like older.
No, it's a very good insight of what your journey was about.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, just you can put that Roman picture next to the Robinson, and you can totally see that. There was at least like 5 miles drive.
Yeah. Oh,
if not 50.
Inception.
Inception. Yeah, man. Yeah, of course, of course.
Let's
Of
see,
course,
whatever.
that's it's an evolutive process, man. Like, but I still feel like yeah, I still feel like I like pretty much the same stuff since I was at FZD. I still enjoy a lot movies and cinematography,
Yeah.
so that I focus a lot.
Yeah. Can you tell me? I remember back when I was in FZD, I messaged you asking about how you got so good at your like composition and storytelling, and you were telling me
Uh,
about doing movie studies. Can you explain a little bit of what you told me back then?
yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Doing movie stills will definitely help a lot, man, because you're gonna people that have no experience in composition, you're just gonna start understanding why directors did their choices, man.
Yeah.
uh, and you study the movie stills and you start understanding like f- foreground, middle ground, background, and colors, and that actually the director was thinking about. And while he was establishing the shot, you had in mind like the reasoning behind and the light. Everything is thought out, and when you start doing studies of screenshots of movies, you start absorbing that knowledge little
Yeah.
by little, man. Yeah, it's very very important.
Yeah. Can you um run us through kind of just explanation wise, because there's a lot of like students and people who are just starting out in the ArtQuest community
Yeah,
that are like, what do they mean by movie stills, or how do you go
yeah,
about that, or like how do you know which ones are good to do or which ones are bad and all that.
totally, dude. Yeah, man. There's a few websites where you can find like movie screenshots. uh let's see if I have a few. Actually, I don't have anymore. I used to have on my bookmarks.
Okay. Was it like movie
But
screen caps or something?
yeah. There's a few websites that I go a lot. Inspiration from them.
Yeah.
Uh,
So when you do a movie study, so you bring up basically a screenshot of the movie and then
yeah,
you essentially copy it one to one, focusing on their
yeah,
composition and color and lighting.
yeah. Literally that. You're studying that movie still. That's
Hmm.
literally you just go one to one, man. No pressure. That's just that's just pure study, man. You don't even need to post it online. It's just you understanding how that guy did that.
Yeah. So how long do you generally spend on each one?
I don't know. I don't do it anymore as much. But I don't do it for a long time actually. But I do that. I spend. I don't know, man. I spend like an hour or two. Or I don't think when it comes to studies should have time frames for it.
Yeah.
Obviously, like a week on like a small movie still, then yeah, something's wrong.
Yeah.
But if that's the time that requires for you to understand it and to pull it, then maybe the second screenshot is gonna take you 3 days, and the third will take you 2 days, and on and on and on.
Yeah. I guess a lot of these questions seem kind of like pointless, and I kind of agree. Like if I'm like, well, how long do you spend on each study, and you're like, man, it doesn't matter, like who cares. There's a lot of
No,
students out there
I
who are
totally,
like,
I totally get it though. I totally
yeah,
get it.
I had the
Them
exact
asking
same
that.
questions.
Totally
I was like,
understandable.
how long should I spend
Of
on this?
course.
I was in FZD, and I actually did a whole bunch of movie studies because of your advice in FZD.
Yeah,
I did a like 30
I
studies
remember. Yeah, man.
from I did like 30 studies from the Terminator 2. I did like 30 studies
Wow.
from The Goonies, which is one of my favorite
Really?
movies.
Oh my god. You
Yeah.
did do a lot of them, man.
I did like a dozen or more still lifes. Just like during Fang's
Yeah.
lecture, I would just draw like a water bottle on the desk in front of me and do an entire
Yeah.
study.
That
And
that's perfect, dude. That's all. That's literally all you learn, man. You just go on and you study either real life or you study other great artists, man. You study. You don't need to post that shit online.
yeah,
Don't feel that pressure, man. Don't
absolutely.
feel so many studies I've done, and it's good, and that's it, dude. Do you think like Mobius, the artist, he shared all his drawings? I'm sure he
No.
didn't, dude. I know. I know for a fact. I know. I have one of his books. Actually, this one here. this one, this book here, it was his
so
manager
awesome.
that is really cool, man. I think, is it this one? Oh no, this one. This one, the Hermetic Garage from Mobis. It was his manager that went to his house and he was searching through his tables, like, and he found the drawings. Like, oh my god, you have this comic done. Like, yeah, but it's just for me. I don't want to show it. Like, oh yeah, you're gonna show it. And that's the thing, man. This day and age, man, people feel the need to share everything on social network.
Yeah.
And that creates so much pressure in you, man.
Yeah, it's funny because I almost feel like working as a concept artist, 95, 98, 99% of the stuff you do professionally, you're never allowed to show. And it almost makes you humble in a way of like, I really don't need to share everything I draw because I think I've only, out of 2 years of working, I've only had like a one piece I made released. Yeah. And all the rest, it's never going to see the light of day. And I'm totally fine with that. A lot of beginners message me and they're like, doesn't it just kill you that you're not allowed to show your work? And I'm like, not at all. Like, I make it, like, I enjoy making it. I don't need to show it. I don't need to share it on Instagram or Facebook. Like,
although for sure, if you're trying to get a job, like, you got to put yourself out there.
If you're trying to get a job, then you want to enough work to get hired. You want to show people like you draw a lot, you want to produce really good work. You don't want to you want your and you also want your portfolio that clients see to be separate from like your art dump. Totally. You want to build a beautiful portfolio that highlights your strengths and what you're good at, and then maybe all your silly drawings and art you can put on Instagram on like
I was exactly gonna say that, man. Like, I feel like Instagram is perfect for art dumps, man. And that's what most people do anyway, man. But when it comes for ArtStation, I feel like on ArtStation it should be more professional. You should keep
put your best stuff.
You should post mostly your best stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And stay relevant on Instagram and all that stuff. But even so, man, studies, you don't have to post every study you do, man. I definitely didn't. Some guys do, man, and they do really well for themselves. But I don't feel that pressure, though. Don't feel that pressure.
Yeah, like Ate's work, for example. He has so many studies that, like, his dailies, his 365 days of sketching. Ate Gilhine, what's his name exactly? I'll go to his ArtStation really quick. This guy posted like sketches every single day. I'll share my screen. Really quick. This guy does sketches like almost every single day, and he's done tons and tons of them. You can just see the amount of content that he posts. Like, look, you can just scroll down and down and down. But check this out. Every single post has, or not every single, I guess a lot of them have, let's see, I guess not these ones right here. A lot of his posts actually have multiple paintings in them.
Oh, right, good.
Where did they all go? I was looking through his work for a long time, and I noticed that a whole bunch of his, here it is.
Like multiple drawings?
Yeah, look at these, like a whole bunch of 3-4 more drawings in each of his posts. So I would even recommend doing studies of this guy's like color choices, and also like virtual plein airs, which is like and real plein airs. If you have like an iPad Pro, for example, going outside and just doing studies of the real world, studies a lot of the time. Like, look how amazing that piece is, that color choice.
Beautiful.
But I would say studies a lot of the time, especially of real life, is one thing that I learned in Nick's class. He was talking about how like photographs don't capture, like, photographs capture what the camera can see, but a painter will interpret the colors and put their own artistic voice into that painting. Like, you know, you can exaggerate the blues in the piece, or you can exaggerate the reds in a piece, and you can really start to have your own voice as an artist, even just doing studies. So, and I mean, you can tell that.
But
like,
I think, it really comes from a lot of experience, though, man.
Absolutely. Like, a photo of this
that
will never be as good as this guy's painting.
Yeah, totally.
Anyways, what were you saying?
Yeah, I was saying that what you're saying, dude, and that it just comes with a lot of experience, man. It's for you to start pushing for those, like, don't to find your voice, like the first year of studies, man. That takes like 20 years, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Guys, they are doing it young, just because they've been doing it since 0 years old, and that's the thing. That's just how they got, like, parents that were into art, or a few friends or cousins or brothers, and action. But for most people, it's something that you're gonna have to find later in life, and it's fine. It's totally fine.
Oh yeah. So do studies. They help a lot. I would say the most improvement I ever had from my painting and color choices and is from when I was doing studies, and I was really focusing how light interacts with objects. How, like, I would do still lifes where I would, you know, set a water bottle up, or even just like a Wacom pen, and just put it on the desk and shine a light on it, and really focus on how the bounce light interacts, and how the your specular highlights interact with the different materials. Because even in a Wacom pen, you have a couple different materials. You know, you have the that kind of matte grip, and then you have the kind of shiny plastic, and different parts of it are worn smooth from use. Like, you know, your pen tip, all that kind of stuff. And you can learn so much literally just from drawing a Wacom pen.
Yeah, totally. And it's not only that. Drawing a Wacom pen in the morning will be one painting. Drawing at night is going to be one painting.
Yeah.
Drawing with a focal light on top is going to be another. And so, man, with a Wacom pen, you can do a lot. Dude.
Yeah.
Just make sure you have two of them, because otherwise you're not going to be able to paint it.
Yeah. I have two.
Draw your Wacom pen day.
Yeah, make sure you have two.
Annual.
Yeah.
No, you could just put one down and look at it. Put one down and look at it.
Now everyone will think, like, for you to become a good conservator, just paint Wacom pen.
Yeah, that would be hard to put it down and then draw it and then pick it up. You know, it's like drawing. It's like painting a self-portrait almost. You're like looking back and forth.
Oh, dude, how badass did you become, though, man? Like that ability to just to draw from memory, right?
Yeah,
dude.
Draw through was a lot from that. Go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
For me, one of the hardest art training I ever tried, but I only did it for like 2 days at most, was you look at a photo for 5 minutes, and in your head you're memorizing everything, right? Okay, the person is this tall. There's this red hue back there. There's this ground there. It's kind of white like that. And then you close it off. You won't look at it again. And you paint it for the next 20, 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then you bring it back up, put it side by side, and you can completely see and understand how your brain works when you're looking at things.
Yeah, dude.
And it's really hard, dude. Nobody does it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's extremely hard. And also, an extremely hard exercise that we did a lot on FZD was draw through on design sketching, which was like you have a camera in front of you, different perspective, draw it in the mirror position of that camera, like in draw through.
Yeah.
You guys didn't do that exercise?
Yeah. Was it? Wait, so you
Letters.
saw you
It was the letters. You bounced
letters
back,
with a bunch of
floor,
mirrors.
ceiling.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about design sketch. I think it's design sketching, which you have to do a bunch of objects.
Yeah.
And you gotta draw them in different perspectives. So imagine like I have my cell phone here,
Yeah.
like this, but I'm gonna draw it like this. You know,
Yeah.
you understand draw through,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
know where the little elements of the phone is.
We
You can do it. Man,
we
that-
had it with these little model tanks and
Yeah,
cars
I
and
remember
those
that.
things. They made us go and buy it. So we would
Yeah.
do that from 6 different angles, and then we would put it right next to what we drew. And the instructor would come over and take a look at the model and actually look at our drawings.
yeah.
That one, yeah.
That's a really
That's-
good
that's
assignment.
Oh, a terrible one. Yeah, that was terrible though. That's such a hard time. And like you have a mug like this, you gotta draw it like this, and like
It's
no,
just silly.
I can't. I can't copy like no, because if it's in front of you, you can just like it's
You can
gonna be like
eyeball it.
this.
You know, you can measure with your pencil.
Yeah,
But you can't
can
do that.
artsy
when
thing
you-
like no. If you draw it like this, man, like good luck with that.
That's a very good exercise.
Unless you do like old
sucks.
masters to do it, sucks. Dude. Old
Yeah.
masters used to put like a mirror in front of their painting.
Yeah.
See it like the same way we do it in Photoshop. We do mirror
Hmm.
horizontally, pum,
Yeah.
to find mistakes.
Oh yeah, there was that one artist who had a mirror above him, so all he had to do was look up and it would like mirror the work or something. Or I don't remember
Yeah,
exactly
that
what
up-
it was. You know, so you can just see it flipped horizontally.
Yeah. It's very important, man.
Also, upside down master studies.
Upside down master studies.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
once you finish, you flip it upwards and see that, oh my God, I always stretch
Interesting.
things horizontally more than, because when you turn it upside down, your brain doesn't recognize it anymore.
Mhm.
Totally.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
yeah.
That's very interesting, dude. And it's like we were talking before. Studies are so important. Dude.
Yeah.
So important. And that's the thing what we do in FZD. That's the thing. Like, I have a few works of FZD on my portfolio, and I am thinking about taking them all out.
Mhm.
But it's all third term. It's all like portfolio stuff.
Yeah.
But dude, if I had to post, and you guys know it, man, if we had to post all the fucking drawings we did, first term, second term, third term, oh my god, man,
It'd be pages and pages.
like
and pages.
it's pages and pages, and even digital stuff. It's insane amount of drawings. Like, so that's the thing. Like, posting, man, just do your studies and study artists, study real life, study concept artists, and study, man. It's you gotta consume good stuff, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I have
Consume
a-
old movies, old
Yeah.
books.
Old
Yeah.
movies and books. Yeah, I have a student who's taking my mentorship right now, and I just told him for this week's work, I just told him to do a whole bunch of studies. Like, I'm like, do a bunch of Craig Mullin studies, do a bunch of plein air, digital plein airs, do a whole bunch of these, do a whole
Yeah.
bunch of those. And I explained, like, what to look for when he's doing them. And I'm going to be reviewing them with him. But studies are so important. You learn so much. Like, if someone can't paint very well, I would just have them do a whole bunch of studies or...
Yeah. Copy a Singer Sargent painting,
Yeah.
man, or these masters. But even Craig Mullins, man. If you try to copy Craig Mullins, oh my god, you're gonna learn so much.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's like, you know, you can tell when people do studies too.
Oh yeah, you can totally.
It can be like, wow, your color choices are really good. Like, you must do a lot of studies. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
yeah,
you
I go
can-
do plein air outside on my iPad every day.
Yeah, you can totally see like it's just that sneaky bounce light
Yeah.
under the thing, and like, how
Yeah.
the hell? Sometimes not even in 3D you get that, right? You just get it outside, and it's just our eyes perceive things scientifically, man. It's very interesting.
And then going back
Oh.
to the studies, let's say you understand color and light. Good. What's next? What do you suck at? Is it perspective now? Okay, good. Since you've already got good enough at colors and lighting, go to the perspective dude.
Yeah,
And you spend
yeah.
another 6 months doing perspective. Now your perspective and color and everything is fine. Now you're not worried about showing whatever you want to show. What's
Yeah,
next? I don't know about world function design, all that stuff. So again, it's all chunk by chunk by
yeah,
chunk. Right?
so 100%. You said it very well, and yeah, man. Because at the end of the day, it's gonna be an amazing piece when you have everything nailed down, right?
Yeah.
And of course you can paint really well. I remember seeing Marco first paintings, and they were cool, man. I remember at school they were cool, but it just you could see that guy would be had been painting. He was painting for a while, man.
Yeah.
You know, he was painting digitally for a while, and but it just was missing perspective, was missing color fundamental. But he had the feeling, the raw feeling was there, and the comfort of painting digitally too,
Yeah.
which that's to develop too, man.
Yeah, I do want to
That's
bring up
hard.
his work really quick. Keep talking, by the way.
Yeah, man, like it takes time to develop some comfort on painting digitally too, and at the beginning I remember people would put like a sheet of paper on your Wacom table to make it feel more natural, but
Yeah.
I feel like you just gotta embrace the medium, man. Just gotta embrace the medium and do the best. It's not traditional, it's digital, and that's it, man. Take the advantage of it.
Yeah. So this is the guy we're talking about, Marco. He was in your term in FZD, and
Did you
he's
click
gonna come
your-
on
on
later.
your screen, or? Yeah.
What's that?
Is your screen on, or
Yeah, I'm screen sharing right now.
it is it?
So
He's amazing, man.
dude, he's
Marco's
really good.
amazing.
Like some of his wave studies that he's done.
Dude, yeah, like what?
Oh, you know where
A guy
was
that photo washes a lot, and then suddenly started doing like wave on his Instagram. Will
Yeah.
fine, or
This is some of his term 3 work from FZD, right?
yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah. So this was
when I saw his final project, I was like, what the hell, photo washing? What is that? And I was like, the fidelity of this, man, looks so real.
yeah.
He got famous with that piece, man.
Yeah,
Which
he
one?
did.
That,
Which one? This
that
one?
mushroom piece.
No.
Yeah, he got.
Bond.
Wow, look at that.
No, what?
So amazing.
He got like, it was really interesting because he for a while he was actually pretty famous with his first with his photo washing
Yeah.
stuff, and because not many people were doing it like he was doing it, so
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, man, he is great, man. I really like his stuff, man.
I remember that one that I saw. I remember I saw this one, and I was like, "Whoa! Like this is so awesome!" I messaged him during FZD because of this piece, and I had asked him for some advice, and he gave me some really good advice. I don't remember what it was, but I remember I loved it.
Yeah, the lost edges, the
Yeah.
painterly stuff. It's just the harmony of this piece is really, really good. And actually, dude, there was a guy that did this in 3D.
Yeah, he animated it like a guy walking and
Yeah.
everything.
Badass, man. Really, really well done, man. I was really, really impressed.
Yeah, this might be it. This guy. Let me see.
Yeah, that's the one.
Is this it? Yeah. Here it is. Yeah, check this out.
Man, he modeled.
See? He modeled the whole thing out and he animated it. It's so
But he
cool.
looks-
It's done well.
But check the process, man. Check the process, because some stuff looks like matte painting, but it's literally 3D. Everything is 3D. Photogrammetry.
Yeah. Oh man, he doesn't have that process on here, but everything
No,
has 3D.
really?
Yeah, it doesn't
Go
look
to
like it.
YouTube or something. Maybe he has it on his YouTube.
I'm not
What
sure.
the hell?
But it's so cool. Like such a good job. How did he get that? Like, oh.
You
Because
shall not pass, dude.
Because that's the thing, man. Like it's so good that looks a matte painting. Looks like it took layers to mark. Oh, it is. Go back.
What's up?
Go right. Go down on the.
Oh,
the
here it is.
bottom
Here it
part.
is. There we go.
Because it
Oh,
looks like
this
it
is
just
loud.
took some. It's so good that it looks like it took some layers of Marco, but it was actually everything. That tree is 3D, man.
That's
which is
amazing.
insane.
Yeah, but I mean, this just goes to show that Marco's
Look at it,
concept
look at it.
piece is
Yeah,
good
yeah.
enough for someone to build completely. That's what you need in your portfolio. You want someone. You want your drawing, your design, your painting to be so good that someone can go in and completely build everything out. You know. Like I look at a lot of
man.
student portfolios and they're like, "Can I get a job? Like, do you think I could get a job?" And I'm like, they won't be able to model your stuff. It's way too vague. It's way too implied. Like, you have to really spend some time and figure all your stuff out.
Dude, this is so impressive.
I know. Wow. Dude, Marco must have been so excited when he saw this.
Fuck, man, of course. It's like,
I want to ask him about this when he comes on.
man, that's so impressive. And on the tree, check it out. The tree has little faces.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Marco design.
Yeah, I can go back to Marco's thing really quick.
So
See,
impressive.
actually, no, it doesn't look like Marco put it in his.
No.
Is that a face?
Oh, but the guy interpreted it like that.
Yeah. Okay.
It looks like a face, at least over the Hangouts.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like a face, but this guy interpreted it in a lot more literal way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So interesting.
Awesome work by both of them. I mean, this guy's.
Should get this guy to the podcast, dude.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Be awesome. Interesting, dude.
Yeah, but anyways, studies. I think Marco did a lot of studies, didn't he?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
A lot of studies. Way more than me, dude. Way more than me.
Yeah, I stopped doing studies for a very long time. I need to pick them up again. They're so important.
You have the waves there, up there.
This one,
on the right.
Oh, this,
Right.
yeah, these wave studies. Here's some studies.
there you go.
Look how amazing like the like subsurface scattering is. Is that what it is when it goes in waves?
Maybe,
Yeah.
dude. I
Those
got it
colors
right.
and saturated greens and blues, like, oh, it's so good.
So also, thing about study is that most guys would probably just see what they're perceiving, but you need to think about, okay, what was this? What's the context? How is it working? When was this taken? Like, you need to do the second, third level of thinking while you do it. Otherwise, you're just going to blindly copy what's there.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as effective.
No, it's
So,
not.
So like Silva said, like, if you're looking at movies, okay, what movie is this? Why? Where did he put the light? Where do I see it? Where is it bouncing off?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just those things, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can just blindly copy like a machine all
Yeah.
day. And you won't
Yeah,
learn anything.
mindless copying it's not good. It's you gotta have that conscious learning. Again, going back to that movie thing, I found the website that I used to use a lot and I still use. It's called Film Grab. I'm gonna share it. I love going to this website because here you can actually download like big chunks of screenshots of the movie. For instance, like, okay, you got a La La Land here. Okay, imagine you really love.
Are you screen
this-
sharing?
Share screen, dude.
Am I not?
Nope.
Oh,
Oh, I didn't click share. Sorry.
okay.
Okay, so it's filmgrab.com and you'll open it.
Film-grab.com.
Oh, actually, now it's like that.
They
Interesting.
probably took it down and put it up again.
They did. I was very confused because the design is very different. I was like, is this the one? But it is because that's the name of it. And you can go here and okay, let's search like Blade. And he has like, actually he has only the old movie. And you click on it. And you have like, okay, this is the setup of the old website. And you can go here and you check all the...
Wow, that's set up real nice. The one that I
It's
had.
set up really nice, and it chooses like really cool ones. It's not like it does, because some websites it has like 200 images of the movie and like
Some of them have like 8,000 images. They basically just take some websites just take a screenshot every like 2 seconds and upload every single screenshot. This guy looks like he goes in and specifically decides on interesting scenes. Wow, that one's awesome.
and you can download it or you can purchase it, because I think for a while download something appears to be missing. Yeah, some of these some of these movies are missing, but I think with a new setup you can download. Let's try.
You get a virus.
Yeah, you can download and you download. No.
I'm
you
kidding.
download and you get like a full zip of the screenshot.
Yeah.
And this is the best for you, dude. And you can go and study all of this, man. You can go and
Wow.
do studies and they have good resolution, man.
Yeah, that's
Also,
amazing.
it's amazing. I love this website. I've been using it since FZD, and sometimes I'm looking for inspiration because this dude has so much good taste, man.
Yeah.
I don't know who is
Wow.
this guy doing it, but he has amazing taste. Like sometimes I find some colors that I like from like this one.
Wow,
And like,
such good
man,
colors.
maybe I'll watch this movie. And then you find like, wow, this, and then you find like, man, there's some appeal to this screenshot. What is it? And then you study it. It's like, oh man, interesting. There's some freshness to this image for some reason.
Yeah, look
is
at
it
the
the
color
pink,
choices.
the yellow, the green?
It's bizarre, but it's so good.
And I watched the movie. Amazing movie, dude. With
What
Willem
movie
Dafoe.
is this?
Florida Project.
Okay.
Amazing cinematography, man. Absolutely beautiful movie, man. Highly, highly recommended. And I find
the
movies from this website. Yeah, totally. The Void.
Man, those colors just blew my mind. Like, oh, you never see stuff that
Yeah,
cool.
dude. And that's the thing, dude. Okay, let's find it again. Okay, imagine you have a sci-fi project.
Yeah.
You can still do the same basic design, the same stuff, but you apply these colors. Suddenly, you have a right.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't see sci-fi projects with these colors usually, man. Like imagine you do, or whatever, man. Like you combine things, and this is a good. That's why you gotta consume good content, like old movies, good stuff, man. Books, these classics, and find good reference. Like Colton was saying, your work is gonna be as good as your reference, man. Period.
Yeah. Wow, that
Okay,
pink house.
Yeah, and that's a thing. Like but then it goes into deeper levels, man. Because there are levels to this game. Like this dude probably there is a reason behind he chose the pink. Is sometimes we as viewer when we see only one picture, you see like, oh, it's very beautiful and it's relating to you in some way.
Yeah.
But the artist had an idea behind it. He wanted to convey an idea with that pink. Either it's like children toys, either it was like the innocence of that place and that story, because that movie plays a lot with children. So maybe it was the perspective of the children. And when you have this, when you're creating and you have like these semantics in your head, like stuff just comes out way easier, man, because you know exactly what you want to translate, and then people will subconsciously interpret that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's just because it's cool, you know. But it's always nice to have a meaning behind things, even if it's just for you and no one will understand it. At least it will be like a beacon for you to finish that work.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But it's beautiful. Look at this, because it's the story of these kids living in the Florida project, and you have these childish colors that are very poor, but still in a rough environment, because it's a very rough environment, and they almost get kidnapped, but they still keep their joy and their happiness, even though they are in a dark environment. At least that's how I interpreted it. It's a beautiful movie. The actors, the kids are amazing.
Wow.
But yeah, this is the things that move me. Maybe what moves you is like photography or games, or just gotta find a reference, man, and do your thing. Moonlight, another beautiful.
There's a lot of graphic design thinking involved in this.
100%. Yeah, very graphic, very graphic. That's why now I look back at my graphic design days and I'm like, fuck, put more attention to it. But that's how it is, man.
You know, like it's almost like graphic design is the most basic form of expressing something. You know, you're thinking about that sort of thing.
And it is, dude. It literally is. It comes from the first drawings, the first symbols we did in caves, until the symbols you see in the street for cars. And that's how we communicate. We communicate through symbols. Letters are symbols.
Yeah,
it's all graphic design. And once you start understanding the way to translate, communicate what you have in your head through a symbol, then everything's gonna be much more relatable. Dude, this is graphic design. Look at this. It's
graphic
basic.
design.
It's all basic shapes.
Completely.
Gold, gray, black. That's it. Only 3 choice of hues and color.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've been realizing in my film studies that I've done in the past is that the simplest, the best one.
Yeah.
It's like movies usually is like one color and one it's usually like 2-3 colors and it's done. Okay, too much. Of course, depends on the movie, but even going back to even this movie, like you have this kind of blue, dark, purple, and green as a hint color.
Yeah.
Like 90% one color and 10% one color. Like you're a good example. Like you have 90% this gray, bluish color, and then 5% red and 5% yellow.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's most of the times it's usually that's how movies do. A good movie that knowledge is Solo Star Wars.
Oh, I just watched that recently. I loved that movie. I really liked it.
Yeah, I like it a lot, dude. And in Solo you can totally see that process being applied, man. It's literally like monochromatic and coloring the lights.
Yep.
But then you're gonna find movies that do the opposite, and that's where the beautiful art comes from. It's like not everything has to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I find Solo. I doesn't have. Well, let's find Star Wars Solo movie. Portuguese dude trying to type in English, man.
Yeah, this was another Star Wars screencaps.com. They have a lot of these screen caps websites. This is one of the examples I was talking about where they literally just take a picture every second and post every single photo.
Yeah, I don't like it as much. It's cool if you want to find like a specific shot. That's totally cool.
Yeah,
like
it's good for that.
But like, look at this, man. Like you have like one color, literally like brown, blue, and then pick 1% of red.
Yep. One little dot.
Yeah, one little, but it's enough to. It's enough to. And I was taught it while I was at Crytek, and it's really interesting. Look at this: the blue, and
yeah, such a cool. I love that movie, man. I gotta watch it again.
I like it a lot, man.
I was asking my brother. I was like, did you see the movie Solo? And I'm like, what did you think about it? Because I wasn't all that big a fan of like The Last Jedi and that. And he's like, no, Solo was really good. And I was like, really? Okay, then I'll go watch it. Yeah. I loved it.
Same here. I'm not a big fan of these new Star Wars movies, but this one is amazing. I liked it, man. It has these problems as well. It's still a Disney thing, but it's very good. But look at this, dude. Like literally gray and red.
Yeah.
It becomes that easy, man.
Yeah.
But that's what I want you to see.
Yeah, well, with that chase scene, you can track the vehicle easily. If it's just it's like your eyes following 2 red dots.
Yeah. Also, what's like usually Enfangzo used to say it a lot. Like, people will like what it's neat, but it's easy to understand. Like, if it's not understandable, if it's something that you cannot understand very well what goes on the picture, people won't like it as much. Yeah. So if it's neat, look at here. Like, everything is really neat. All the shape of this guy is neat. The shape of this dude is neat.
Yeah.
These squares.
Yeah, and with that like last shot, actually, with the stormtroopers, the person who composed that shot actually grouped the stormtroopers with the white suits in with the dark values. You know, like
for sure.
Their white outfits are way darker than the light windows coming from the there's a reason they made those windows tilted, you know. It's because it's more dynamic like in some of the scenes. But like, you know, you have your local like, look at the speculars from the helmets. Like, there's a reason they put all of them in the background. Like all those
Yeah,
speculars on the stormtroopers' helmets are awesome, but like, and they group the stormtroopers in with the darker values. Like the lightest value is like the reflections, and then that light.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
And the it's very cool, man, because you start understanding that in movies, and for the younger guys to understand that in movies they shit a lot, man. They fake a lot. Like
oh yeah,
Fang Zhu used to tell a lot of, like, for instance, okay, in this situation, this seems their base color is white, but I guarantee you, man, this is not the same white that they were using in the stormtroopers of the older movies, right? Because this is way darker, and it fits this movie. And even it's not the same suits that they used in other shots.
Yeah.
Just because each shot will need a certain amount of work and attention.
Yeah, look at that stormtrooper on the right, the very right.
This one here?
No, the right. That one.
Yeah,
like,
look
it's
at
like a black stormtrooper almost. Yeah, it's like.
Dude, he's a black, but he definitely has base color, man.
Yeah.
It's interesting, very, very interesting. Fang used to tell this interesting story about Star Wars, man. About Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
Probably told you guys too, but he used to tell about, like, if you check screenshots of the battles of Lord of the Rings, man, you check their helmets, they have like specular, like these dudes. Like, let's see if I get a good example. Let's see. Do you have specular on the helmets? The medieval knights.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! That shot was perfect to show that.
There's so many speculars. It's like there's only one sun or something, but then there's like 10 speculars.
But that's the thing, exactly. There's like, here you find a lot of you have specular here.
Yeah. Because
you have this light, but then you have specular here because you have these lights.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man. Like in medieval times, you only had one specular, man. It was the sun, and that's it. Maybe you have the fire, but it was like a day scene. So that's the thing, man. You'll do what makes the shot cool, and doesn't mean that it exists in real life, but gotta go for cool. Always go for cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And then a bunch of the time, I mean, they have limitations, you know, like limitations, like, oh, like we'd love to do this, but we can't. It's too expensive. So they have to fake it or not do it.
Exactly. Or, with those limitations, they come up with even more original ideas, man. That's actually what happens a lot in movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very interesting, man. Yeah, I highly recommend you guys check out these websites that you find these screenshots, and I definitely highly recommend this film Grab one. Link on your YouTube.
I'm actually gonna start doing some studies of that. That looks awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very interesting.
Yep, I see me.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
That's great. Let's see if we have any other questions to
I don't see any so far.
Yeah, I'm just checking our docs really quick. We have a big list of questions on docs that we basically been over all of them. You talked about resources you liked. You talked about your education. You talked about all that kind of stuff. I think that's pretty much everything we had. I guess we can open up. Well, we've kind of been doing questions and answers throughout, but I guess we can kind of open up for some questions if you want.
Yeah.
Just whoever wants to ask. We have a couple older questions in the Discord from before the stream started. What platform do you use to get noticed by legit clients?
Yeah, it's definitely ArtStation, man.
ArtStation
would be yeah.
It's funny because ArtStation's really kind of become this place where even professionals will post their portfolios. You know, a lot of people are actually ditching websites and just having an ArtStation. Like they don't even care if it's the paid version of ArtStation because it's such an effective layout. You know, you got your thumbnails of your images, you can click, you can upload a whole lot of content, and it looks very professional and sleek. And there's been people who got hired at huge studios just because they had an ArtStation. And
totally.
my ArtStation comes up on Google before even my website.
You're right. Yeah. Mine too. I think so. I think I feel like Instagram also. Well, I never got a job from Instagram. I know some dudes that got, and Instagram, because it's becoming this social network of designers, from movie directors and actors, and I feel like it's a good platform, very good platform if you're like at the level of Mashik Shiar or
Yeah.
Star. You're at that level because you start tackling like the movie directors. For people that are starting, definitely ArtStation. Go for ArtStation. It's where everyone, like the biggest companies, I would say every company in the world that needs a concept artist will look into ArtStation.
Okay.
Only concept artists, lighting artists, 3D artists. So.
Yeah, there's a huge variety of people on ArtStation, way more than just concept artists.
Lighting artists get a lot of exposure to on ArtStation.
Yeah, ArtStation is just great.
Yeah, very, very good.
Let's see.
Very good too. I'm not in Behance at the moment, but I think it's very good.
Okay, I've never tried. I don't even know what Behance is. I have
You
heard
don't
of
know
it.
what? Oh, okay. Yeah. What I would recommend to people, just post your work everywhere, man.
Yeah.
Like the more place you get seen, the best.
But don't post your crappy stuff everywhere.
Yeah. No.
Post your art dumps on Instagram and post all your good work everywhere.
Yeah. Like make your portfolio, like the other guy was saying. Make your portfolio like 10, 15 pieces, and then post it like Behance, DeviantArt, ArtStation, Facebook, Instagram, all the platforms, man.
Yeah. Let's see. We got a question. What's an efficient workflow going from a 3D base to a finished concept illustration? That's a very kind of a broad question.
Yeah. An efficient work would be. Again, there are many ways of doing it. You can start on 3D and take it really far. Do textures and use fog, and from that you do like a clown pass, which a clown pass would be like once you render the final image, you get like the with the final image you get the part. I don't know how to explain it very well. You guys know how to explain what a clown pass is? You know what a clown pass is?
Yeah, that's when you
It's like when
render
you
out
like,
a bunch of different colors so you can select them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like people have been doing this in the VFX industry and since ever, and concept artists do that a lot. That's what I would do. Like nowadays I render the final image with fog and all, and then I render the clown pass so I can select it.
Yeah.
I don't have to be in Photoshop like with lasso tool all of a sudden just tuk, and then paint over.
Yeah.
Detail.
Yeah, and you can do a clown pass. That's clown, CLOWN, a clown pass, and you can do that in any. You can do that in any 3D program. Yeah, Blender, Modo, all that.
What really helps separate things and choose on auto select tool on Photoshop. Yep. It's really handy.
Yeah, it's very handy. Like it in 3ds Max doesn't. It's not called clown pass. Actually, you can do like by material ID. You can do it by wire pass. I'm meaning in V-Ray. Sorry, because I use the render engine I use is V-Ray.
Yeah.
You have many render engines. You have Octane, you have V-Ray, you have Redshift, you have Cycles and Blender. You have no, I think it's one too. But yeah, man, it's that's how I would go for it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what else. How to come up with a concept and present it in your portfolio. That's another bit of a broad one.
How to present it? It's very broad, but it's very important to. Okay, you do a badass piece. You do an amazing piece, very well executed. Or okay, let's say like you do a badass prop, and then when you present it, you paint it really well, executed really well, amazing design. You presented like in a. You present it like in a white background, like just like that. It's just without thinking about composition. Like you gotta, when you present your stuff, you look at the reference of how people present their work in graphic design and concept artists, because I saw in FZD it happened a lot. We would present our works, and people would be lazy about presenting, either even lazy the way they would sign the page, even lazy the way they would write the title in the image, and that stuff shows. Like, you got to keep your energy throughout all the piece, even until the moment that you're gonna present it.
Yeah, I have some really good examples of that.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about it if you're not showing anything.
Yeah. So I can show you some. One guy that I love his work is Nick. Nick Gendro, and he has a really amazing way of presenting. And like, he'll design something out like real hardcore. Like, look at this presentation right here. It's so interesting. It's such a beautiful image graphically and compositionally. But he's showing the design where you could totally build this out in 3D. Totally. Another way you could do it is, you can make a painting, like a piece like this, and then you can do something like this. He'll totally break it down, do cutaways, and this like radiation shielding here, and just like all this.
It's really interesting. I was looking. It's
really good breakdown
stuff even yesterday, and he really loves to do cutaways. Not many people like to do cutaways.
Oh yeah, like in fact, I was just taking a class by him. I think someone asked about this, and he's like, "Oh, I just do it for fun because I enjoy it."
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, because I was seeing one of his pieces. Like, most of his cutaways come from his personal work, and I'm like, dude, that dude really enjoy doing cutaways.
Yeah, Nick is one of those rare artists who is just an amazing artist, but he also is amazing at thinking about design and storytelling. He has a class at Brainstorm. I don't think he's going to be teaching it for a couple of terms, but I just so highly recommend that class. It was amazing. He mostly teaches it's world building too, but
you did a great work for it too, dude.
Oh, thanks, dude.
You did a great job.
Yeah, but anyways, like, if you want to look at good presentation, just look at some really good artists and like see how they present their work. See how they will show their design. Like another really good example is this one. Look how well this design is presented. It's so interesting and beautiful to look at.
And then you have guys like Masha Kushara. They will go and present his props in a completely different way, like in a black environment.
Yep.
Just that after he did it, everyone started doing it.
So that's another guy who's
for his
Look at this.
What?
So funny.
My god,
dude, that's so great. I love that. I remember seeing that piece years ago. I thought that was so funny.
He posted it. I didn't know he posted it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Those are president posters.
Like, look at this presentation, right?
Yeah, completely different, right? Completely different.
Yeah, totally different. But there's still like narrative, right? Like, it's on a road. You have this texture on the ground. You have these, speculars from the world around it. You're like, oh, this motorcycle right here is probably actually in a city right now, or outside, because you can tell by the speculars, like this light. Like, see all these lights and stuff? You have, like, a little hints of color that are being rebound. Like, see that, like, there's blues in there, which is like, oh, it's under the sky. Or maybe there's a little... Most of it's gray, so you assume it's, like, in a city.
Yeah, totally. And to see the... It's definitely not in a studio.
No.
But to see the power...
Yeah.
To see the power of like a good painting and a good artist, like after this dude presented this way, like everyone started presenting this way things.
Yeah.
Present the way Fangzu presents, right? Like in this gray background, like the props, right? Like you show one drawing the way you used to do in FZD. You put one drawing, then you put another on the right and another on below it. And things just change, and the standards of art change. So you gotta be attentive to these things.
Yeah, look at this presentation. Wow.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I wonder how much time he spent. Like, that's the first thing that came into my head.
Yeah.
How long is actually...
I think I heard that in some he spends a bit of time, and others he has to crank out a lot of work. But I think for specifically Ghost in the Shell, he had a bit of time to do things.
Yeah, like even
I know
this piece.
You gotta get my check shot to the.
Dude, that would be super cool. Maybe someday we'll try to have him on. I'm gonna try to get Fang on someday too.
Dude, try, man, try.
Yeah,
Jordan he's gonna have Steve Wang today on his podcast.
Okay, yeah, I think I heard that.
Yeah, and Steve Wang is a badass, man.
Yeah, but like, look at this piece right here. This is an all surface. Did he mean to say subsurface or? Anyways, a shader V-Ray render test. Even his render test is like a beautiful piece of art. Like this is like, you know, I guarantee you someone has taken this and made it their computer wallpaper, even though it's just a test. You know, like he has a very high standard for art.
Yeah, but I bet it's a very high standard because he's presenting it, man. It's not like every test you're gonna do is gonna be beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So, because I bet a lot of the young guys are looking at this and they're thinking like, oh my god, all my tests have to be amazing. No.
Yeah.
He polished it to look good, you know, for the presentation. And that goes along with the question of the guy that's watching the thing. That's the thing, man. You gotta keep that energy of execution throughout until the moment that you start, until the moment that you post it.
Yeah, I mean, like, not everything you make has to be a wonderful piece of artwork, but you should also have a standard that you want to do a good job, you know? Like, there's people out there, like, it's okay if not everything you draw is the most amazing thing anyone's ever seen, but you want to hold yourself to a high standard, and basically, like, perfectionists in this industry are pretty good. Like,
very good. Very good.
You know, I can guarantee you that Mache, just him as a person, even before he was an artist of this caliber, was really just spending a lot of time trying to make everything as good as he can.
Yeah. Usually, perfectionists do very well in this industry.
So, yep, it's a bunch of his.
I
love his graphics.
But then you have guys like Craig Mullen. That they're just rough. And then you go to Craig Mullen's website and it's
Good Brush.
Man. Yeah, you go to Good Brush, it's a bit of a mess, right?
Yeah.
But it's professional enough. Sorry, Burn, you're gonna say something? Sorry, man.
Yeah, the question is on YouTube. It says, "What is the typical time frame to finish a piece in the studio?" It's a really broad question, I think.
Yeah. The typical time.
I mean, from idea, sketching thumbnails, design, building 3D, making the painting. To me, it takes so much time. I was wondering about you. How do you manage the time? So it's
the way I manage it. First, you need to know when is the deadline. That's the first question you make. Like, when is the deadline?
Yeah.
Is it for the next hour or is it for next week? Because if it's for the next week, I'm gonna schedule my stuff in a way that I have enough time to do 3D, enough time for ideation that comes at the beginning. So that's the thing, man. You just have to know if they give you a time frame for the next day. Then I guess you only have like a couple of hours on 3D, and then a couple of hours in execution, a couple of hours in ideation. That's the thing, man. Gotta know when you deliver. Man, there's this guy, man. Oh,
yeah, so good. Yeah, I mean, and freelance is always going to be faster. Even this really chill freelance job that we're on, it's still like way faster than studio a bunch of the time. You know, like you'll get a message and they'll say, client has decided that they need this tomorrow. And then you're like, well, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I got to do it by tomorrow. So whatever.
Not going to sleep.
Yeah.
Gonna cancel the other plans I had. Sorry. Gotta do it.
But you also have to make sure that the client respects your time, you know, like if they hire you on a contract for weekdays and they message you on Saturday and say, hey, we need something in 4 hours and you're out with your family at the beach, you gotta understand that that's not good for the client to do, and you don't want to get thrown around by a client.
Yeah, that's not really a client that you want to be working with, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna they won't respect your
real
time.
fast.
Yeah, and the way to find good clients is just try a bunch of them out. Ask friends for their recommendations, what they think. Try to have one of your friends who's working in the industry bring you on a job. It's so important to be a cool person who delivers on time and is easy to talk with, and because your friends will want to work with you. I work with my classmates from FZD all the time. We give each other jobs. We recommend each other. If someone messages me and they're like, "Hey, I got this big project," the first person I'll message is like my best friend from FZD.
Yeah, totally. Same here. I work with me and Pete work always in the same projects pretty much.
Yeah, and we're on the same project right now. I'm working with a couple of my friends too, and
Pete was working on this project too at some point, right? Or he was trying to work on it.
He was going to, but then he actually decided to work on a different project instead, I believe.
So it is, man.
But yeah, I mean, so I guess
gotta be a cool person, man. Gotta be nice to people.
Yeah. What is it? I am so fond of FZD, but many of the artists follow that presentation style or try to follow. So is there any downfall even if they show good design sense? Well, there's actually studios out there who don't like the FZD look.
Yeah.
Like a lot of, even like, especially like Adam Hawk doesn't like the look. So, and like I was talking to some guys at Adam Hawk, and they're like, "Oh, Adam Hawk really doesn't like the FZD look." It's not that they won't hire students who went to FZD; it's that FZD is one of those places that has such little time to teach a bunch of people the same thing. They have to go with a really consistent presentation style, even if it ends up not being good for everybody. And as an artist, because I'll talk to people who come out of FZD and they'll be like FZD look, what do you mean? Like, I'm like, oh, you have the FZD look, you need to try to get rid of it. And they'll be like, what do you mean FZD look? Like what? Like, I don't even know what that means. I'm like, you just need to keep working and get more experience, and you'll be able to start seeing, like, you can instantly recognize in a split second whether someone has just graduated FZD or not. Yeah, and exactly. It comes from experience. Like, just keep drawing, keep coming up with your own content. I would say the biggest remedy to get rid of that FZD look is to just interpret design and presentation and thinking in your own way. Like, don't think about what you were taught in FZD. Just start doing what you enjoy.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I definitely heard that about FZD. There's a few students don't like it as much. But the thing is that most FZD students are like, you have FZD students pretty much in every studio. That's the funny part.
Yeah, so, it's very effective. Like, almost everybody from my class is working.
Take it with a grain of salt, man. And we in big studios, so that's the thing, man. They teach you design fundamentals.
Yeah.
They teach you the mindset of a designer, and that's the thing where most schools don't teach. And,
yeah, exactly. I mean, I was just listening to an interview of Fang recently, and he's like, oh, like, we only have a year to do what we do. He's like, I fully expect a lot of students to graduate and continue learning. They supplement their education with Gumroad, with mentorships, with like Brainstorm, even Art Center. There's a number of FZD students at Art Center right now. Yeah. And, you can only do so much in a year. And what FZD is undeniably effective at is teaching the students, their VisCom, their perspective skills, design thinking. FZD is one of those incredible places that can take people who've never drawn before and push them out, and they can actually start looking for work. Like, that's incredibly difficult to do. So if you are just like, I want to get into this industry, I only have a year to do it, FZD is one of the best places to go. You just have to try to retain your individuality as a designer and artist.
Yeah, you just have to have in mind that just have to have in mind that that's a learning process, man. That obviously you're gonna have to keep learning after that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and it's a shocking year. And when you finish it, you're like, whoa! It feels like you need another year to process all that information.
Yeah.
You need like 6 months to process all that information, but slowly and slowly start your own personality. You start putting it more like year after year, like and I don't know, like 4 years later, I the best out of FZD, man, and it's amazing, dude. And that design mentality that they also teach at Art Center.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they teach it very much. It's very fundamental for this industry and art overall, man. Art overall, if you have that designer mentality, you can do pretty much any job in art, man.
Yeah.
Designer mentality, the way that creative mentality, you can go into photography and be successful. You can go. It's just that approach that you gotta have when you're doing graphic design.
Yeah.
Of yeah, like learning in chunks, like Brian was saying, and
definitely
all that stuff.
Yeah, I've definitely in the past, like especially with like to kind of finish off my thoughts on FZD, I have recommended many people to FZD, and I will continue to recommend people to FZD. Yeah. And you know, but I think those people have a specific. I would definitely look at their personal situation, because I wouldn't recommend everybody to FZD, but I would recommend people. Like if you know you want to do it, and that's what, like, you're ready to put in a year of hard work, like you're gonna get. But I'm not gonna lie. Throughout FZD, you're gonna get destroyed. Like you are going to burn out. Probably you are going to get. But if you're willing to accept that, then
we're not even talking about like, I'm gonna sleep. Well, I'll go out on the weekend with friends. If I feel bored, I'll maybe play a little bit of shooter game and come back at it. Dude, like you will say goodbye to all that stuff.
You won't even have Christmas.
You won't even have Christmas, and you won't even have full night's sleep
of
the times.
Maybe
Saturday,
1 or 2
Sunday,
days over the break.
There's no such thing as Saturday, Sunday in FC.
No, none.
I'm not sure if it's the exact perfect way to approach things.
No,
if it's
I
like
don't.
the sleep thing. I don't know, man. But that's the thing. You have 1 year, man.
Yeah, whether it's the best way or not is up for debate.
It's debatable. It's debatable. Yeah. Is it the best for your health? No, but complaining it worked with me. So.
Yeah, I mean everybody has their own way, you know. Some people self-teach, like they're very effective. We have a couple artists lined up on here who have a lot of experience. They've worked at, one guy, I'm not going to say his name right now, but he worked at Treyarch. He's worked at a bunch of places in-house and freelance, and he's completely self-taught 100%. Yeah. Like, he can do it. Absolutely.
And nowadays with the platforms like Learn Square, like, oh my God, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, dude. You can become truly badass. Dude.
Yeah, absolutely. That website, by the way, I don't know if it's a website, but it's Learn Squared, LearnSquared, I believe. If you just Google that, it's a school by Mache and Jama and a couple people.
Yeah.
Very effective, very good. There's courses as cheap as like $100 or something. Very good.
I think overall the courses they are around 200 and something.
Okay.
But we can actually check it now. But sometimes like in Eastern and Black Fridays they go up to 100 and something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good courses. I have a number of friends who've taken them, and they always say they're amazing and recommend them.
Yeah, man, it's so cool. Yeah, so nowadays you don't really need to spend that much money, but that's the thing. If you're very young and you're not very disciplined person, you never got that input from the people around you or anything or in school, then and you don't have the hustle inside of you, but you want this, you really want this. FZD is really good, man, because it's going to teach you to be disciplined.
Yeah.
You really will. Some people, they are really strong by themselves, man, and they are able to do that by themselves, and man, extra points to them, man. It's amazing if you can achieve it by yourself.
Yeah, well, most of the people that I know who are self-taught are actually older. You know, they're in their late 20s or early 30s, and they come from a background of hard work. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
think that many high school students could self-teach very easily, just because they don't have that experience and work ethic and scheduling and all that
Maturity,
sort of
too.
stuff.
Maturity.
Yeah, maturity has a lot to do with it.
Maturity.
I'm not saying they couldn't. It's just much more difficult.
Yeah, of course. Dude, I guess like in 1,000 people, you're gonna get one. I reckon.
Yeah.
That you come from high school and has that resilience to go by himself and just learn.
Yeah. Definitely.
No, it's like
Yeah.
no,
What were you gonna say?
no. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe we'll wrap up pretty soon. We've been live for like
2 hour 40 minutes.
2 hours and 40 minutes. So we ended up going.
Wow.
We're always live for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Like every time.
That is like a Joe Rogan podcast. Dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember Ben Morrow went on the Level Up session,
You know,
and they were
dude,
live for
we
almost
should-
4 hours.
We should like totally copy him. I'm just gonna go, guys. Like, have you ever tried photo bashing?
Yeah.
Yo, Colton, put that up. Colton, put that up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you need this. I feel like if everyone photo bashed, the world would be much better. Now then we light up a joint here, man. Dude,
Yeah. Let's get
Let's
Elon
get-
Musk on.
yeah. Dude, if you got Elon Musk, oh my god.
What do you think about
Oh, no.
concept art?
Yeah. And he stops like for a minute to answer.
Yeah.
And man, that podcast was amazing.
Yeah, it
man.
was really, really good.
amazing, dude.
So yeah, I'm gonna go look for. Wondering what your schedules / routines look like, work related / practice. I think nowadays you're mostly working, right?
Yeah, nowadays I'm doing a lot of freelance working with 2 companies at the moment, but it's 2 companies I can control very well the delivery. It's not like it's like I gotta work 20 hours per day. Not at
Yeah, absolutely. It took me years. It took me all this time to set up, because like the studio that we're working for, it took me so long to get on their list of we like you, we're gonna hire you back over and over. It takes a long time to build up clientele as a freelancer. You have to be very reliable and dependable, and you have to build relationships with people at the studio.
Oh yeah, of course. They are people at the end of the day, man. If they don't like your personality and the way you handle things, I just can't be asked to be dealing with an asshole again. And that dude is amazing, but just again gonna have to deal with this personality. It's just at Volta they are really cool, man. I really like them, man.
I love them so much, like Elliot. He's such a cool guy, really nice.
Dude, Elliot. Dude, you should get Elliot, dude.
Oh,
You should
have
get
Elliot on
dude.
sometime.
Dude, you should, dude.
We're gonna have Elliot sometime.
Not Elliot DeVries. Elliot.
I'm sorry. You're
a
talking
guy at
another
Volta.
Stevens.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Elliot Stevens.
We're also gonna get Elliot DeVries on. Like he's like,
We
oh,
should
man, I
have
don't
both
have
of them at
anything
the
to-"
same time.
Yeah.
So we can go, hey, Elliot, can you tell us about this?
Yeah.
Which Elliot? Elliot.
Man, Elliot Stevens, man, he doesn't get as much. He doesn't get as much. What am I saying?
Recognition.
Recognition for what he's, man. He gets badass artists to the company.
Yeah.
And man, like he's the platform. Like so many guys I recommended to him. I started talking to him first.
Yeah.
And the dude makes our life so much better.
Oh my gosh,
So
dude,
much
he's
better.
he's a godsend. Like that guy, he saved my life so many times and so understanding and just a very good.
It's literally the and I feel like doing a better work when I'm working with him,
Absolutely.
which is interesting. Yeah. Because I'm like, man, Elliot deserves it, dude. I'm gonna give that guy what he deserves.
Yeah, so Elliot's our project manager at on some projects that we've been working on. So yeah, as a freelancer, if you can line yourself up with some companies and get in a really good relationship with them, you are going to be very happy. Like some people will say, "Oh my gosh, freelance is so hard and so scary and yikes." like that is true. You're going to go through that phase, but once you have some clients lined up who really like you, freelance becomes so much less stressful. In fact, I've heard a lot of artists say they really enjoy freelancing to being in a studio once they get in that position, and everybody's different, but I love working from home.
I really like working from home, but I'm in Manchester at the moment, so I don't have any friends here or anything. So if I was when I moved to Port, because my girlfriend, she works as a dentist here, and she has to finish some cases. And when I go back to Portugal, that's gonna be really cool because I'm gonna have my friends there, and I can work from home and I can go chill out. But the worst part for me is just not have much people to hang out, and I need that. But I've always been like a super social person. So.
Yeah. As soon as I started making enough money freelance, I immediately moved back to California. All my friends are here. I live like walking distance from like almost all of my best friends. There's Brainstorm. I know a bunch of people at art centers. So if you do decide to do full-time freelance, you need to make sure that your social life is also taken care of, because you can destroy yourself as a freelancer. There's no rule, there's no guidelines. You could literally live in your bedroom. Last year when I was living out in Arizona freelancing, sometimes I wouldn't leave my house or my room for 3 weeks, and I was I'd have a whole bunch of food stored up, because it's 120 degrees Fahrenheit outside. What is that, like 40 something degrees Celsius? And
then you don't want to go out there.
And I didn't know anybody. There's nobody I knew. I was living in Phoenix, and the closest person that I knew was like 2 hours drive away, and I hardly knew anybody in the state. So I just worked all the time, and then I'd burn out and I'd sleep and play video games, and I'm like, I gotta get out of this place.
Yeah. Nah, it's cool though. It's important to have good people around you, man.
Absolutely.
Very, very important.
Dangerous as a freelancer. You got to pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely really cool.
Yeah. Anyways, maybe we can start wrapping up, I guess.
Yeah, dude.
Let's see if we have any last minute questions. Let's check the Elon Musk about AI for concept art. Oh yeah, he can talk about the AI.
Dangerous, man. It's gonna steal our jobs.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do we got going on? I don't see any questions, so I guess that's about it.
All right, guys.
Yeah, so,
thank you, Joao. Did I say that
correctly? Perfect, man. 1-to-1, man. Joao. But yeah, dude, it's been a huge pleasure to talk to you guys. And we met already through the social networks, but it was the first time that we actually spoke.
Yeah.
But it's like this, man. When you go to FZD, and it's the cool thing about going to FZD, man. You kind of build this relationship. Like when you go, obviously it's not the same, but you have a similar feeling when you go through military, and you have like brother in arms, right?
Yeah.
At least I feel when I see another FZD dude, it's like, you know what I mean, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Or when you get on a project with someone, you don't even, like, on freelance a bunch of the time, you'll see people's names on the project, and you'll be like, I've seen that guy on ArtStation. And you message them on, like, Skype or something, you're like, hey, buddy, like, we're on the same project. And I'm actually, some of my idol artists, it was crazy. On the first AAA that I ever worked on, I actually saw a couple other names on the project of people that were like my idols. In high school, I would look at their art and I would be like, oh my gosh, this person's so good. They were on the level up sessions, and I'd recognize their names. I'd be like, I'm on a project with this guy. Like, I gotta message him, like, oh, I'm a big fan,
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
But a couple of them are gonna be on as guests in the future, but...
Yeah, can't wait for it.
Yeah, with FZD, like, you see someone went to FZD and you're like, I feel pretty comfortable messaging this person and being like, hey, what year did you go to school? And...
Of course, you're gonna relate more to the people that were in Amoy Street.
Yeah.
The guys after that.
Thank you, man.
The guys after that.
So the story behind that
I'm joking.
For anybody who doesn't know, is FZD their physical location used to be on a road called Amoy Street, and in 2015, I believe, they moved locations to a road named Kim Yam, and a lot of changes happened in that time. So Silva is actually a student who was there when they were at Amoy Street, and Burin was there when they moved, so he was at both.
Yeah.
And so he gets
after
both.
After 5 terms, I was the only student actually from Amoy in my term. Was the only guy, which is weird.
Yeah. So that whenever they mention Amoy Street, that's what they're talking about. I know a bunch of people don't. That probably went over their heads. They didn't know that. So yeah, I went there when they were at the new place.
A funny joke, dude. Just a funny joke.
Yep.
But yeah, man. But yeah, it's been awesome, man. It's been awesome talking to you guys.
Yeah, dude. I'd love to have you back on sometime. Maybe you can do like a demo or hang out. Like, I don't want to take all your Saturdays, but you know, you have so much good info.
You want to make critique?
Yeah,
if you want.
What's that?
Yeah, sure. Of course.
If you want.
Oh yeah, we want to invite you to do a critique session too, because you said that you're happy. You actually taught at a number of colleges.
Yeah, I taught in 3 universities in Frankfurt, man. As crazy as it looks, but I did.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would love to have you on. We can have you review some students' portfolios and critique some artwork and get some really high quality like critiques, like for free. That's what this channel is all about. You know, helping the community.
Do some overpaint, dude.
Yeah.
Really show us what's wrong with it, or what do you think is wrong with it. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the aim of this channel, is what we're doing. We're going to provide students with real insight into what the industry standards are and how do art directors critique and what's really needed to change and improve.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have you back on, because it was such a pleasure. You're such an easy guest.
Yeah. Well, it is the first one. You don't know what's gonna be the other one.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. Yeah. Totally. No problem, man. No problem. My pleasure.
All right. I guess that's about it then. Like, you know, we've been live for 3 hours.
3 hours.
Almost 3 hours. No, we've been live for 2 hours and like 40 or 50 minutes. 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Yeah. So now it's time to hit up the conspiracy theories, man. And we go for like 4 hours, 5 hours.
We need to get Alex Jones on and get some weed and everything.
Yeah, dude. And there you go, dude. All day.
Dude, we should find like an Alex Jones equivalent. He'll be screaming like, "They're putting 3D graphics into our drawings and killing 2D art, man." Or
it's Greg, man. Greg Weisfall, do you know?
He was out here. I didn't get to meet him in person, but he was out. Actually, we should get him on sometime. You know?
Dude, no, I'm not saying he's like Alex. Not at all. No. He's such a smart guy, man. He's fucking smart. Man.
That's awesome. He's also from your term. You know, we can get your whole term on. You know, we get Maro, we get Pete, we get Marco, we get you, we get Greg.
Jordan Tofan was a badass too.
Was he in your term?
He's in my term, yeah.
Okay, I actually never met him. I know a lot of people from your term, but I didn't.
But you've seen his work, Jordan, no? Jordan
I don't even know if I have. I've heard his name.
Yeah. No, it's very Blizzard look.
Okay.
It's very nice, man.
Yep. Everybody is saying thank you.
Actually, that guy is gonna be making the podcast with Steve Wang later on.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But yeah, man. Yeah, it's my pleasure, man. So yeah, let me know when you want to do the critiques, and we'll do it, man.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have you on sometime, and you know, I'm always hesitant to ask guests if they want to critique people, because I don't want to bring someone on and be like, okay, here's a bunch of work that you need to roast, and then they'll be like, I don't know if I'm comfortable, but
it's good.
Yeah, I have a couple people, and I also don't want to bring people on who are going to roast people and make them quit art forever. Because I do know a couple people like that, and I'd be cautious, because you know, there's some students who are just starting out, and you know, they're when you're just starting, it's a really fragile thing. You know, if someone tells you your artwork is horrible, it can really hurt your ego, and you could quit art forever. And that's not what we want to do on this channel. We want to help everybody.
Yeah, totally, man.
So, anyways, I guess we'll wrap up now.
Okay, guys.
Thanks, Travis, for showing up. You know, thanks, Ursula, for holding down the fort while we were out, helping out on the Discord and the Twitch and everything. Yeah, our girlfriends have kind of went into like Discord management and Twitch management. Like whenever we go live, they both jump on and are like relaying questions to us.
Kind of.
It's really nice. We didn't even ask them to do
what's
it.
wrong, if there's a question, what we should check out, if we have technical difficulties. Yeah, our girlfriends tell us all that.
Nice. Lucky
So,
you, man.
yeah.
Lucky you. Yeah. Yeah, my girlfriend is a dentist, so.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for showing up, and we will definitely have you on again pretty soon.
All right, guys.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, bye, everyone.